Welcome everyone to another session of Crituitous RP. Thank you for joining us today. Previously, our heroes had been adventuring through Ironslag, the ancient fire giant fortress and mines, the forges that were used there. The party's goal was to enter Ironslag, find out what they were doing there, and stop them. The king of Citadel Felbar had asked that you bring back proof that you had quelled whatever it was the giants were doing. But your personal goal was to get in there to be able to find out, to grab a hold of some magical conch that the fire giant leader would have on his person. The intention is that with this magical conch you should be able to gain access to the court of King Hecaton, the storm giant king. Last week you ventured into Ironslag proper after having rested in another plane and come back for more. You sneakily stealthed invisibly through a huge mess hall filled with goblins and managed to make your way towards the sleeping quarters, where you found the Duchess herself alone and appearing to be dolling herself up a little bit, putting on some makeup and wearing a really nice black scale, dragon scale armor dress, whereupon you quickly defeated her and used the distraction caused to also summon Duke Zalto into another conflict, whereupon you slew him very succinctly and very not so much easily, but Gamel almost fell completely from a couple choice attacks. But after killing Duke Zalto, you intimidated the fire giant that was with him and claimed what is known as the right of the kill. It is apparent from what the fire giant told you that after slaying their leader, though you don't rightfully claim, like you don't get what you kill, it's not that kind of a deal, but you do earn the right to have time and not be challenged for a while. It would be uncommon for the fire giants to rebel against you now that you've just killed their leader. So you instructed him to go out, tell the word to the rest of the giants that it is time to leave. And having been properly intimidated by you, he did so. He left and started instructing everyone to leave. Your clear instructions did include the fact that you do not harm any of the prisoners and the slaves. You leave them be and let them go. Whereupon we zoom to the section of the Ironslag proper, which includes the slaves. So give me 1 second. And I will pull the map to where the slaves were. So, let me know if you see the map.
Yep.
You do? Okay. So, Danrik, you have been a slave of these fire giants for a good couple weeks now. They raided your town and took you as one of their prisoners. Very quickly, after getting in here, they noticed a few things about you in particular. And one of those things was that it would save them a lot of trouble if you were kept quiet. So you are currently, or were, set to task in the wheel which was a huge mechanism that effectively moved everything within Iron Slag. And the slaves would take, I don't want to say turns, but they would be forced to spend time turning that wheel constantly. Long shifts of pushing it. And that's all you knew for a good couple of weeks. Then suddenly you hear a lot of noise, a commotion. The giants started to seem to act quicker. In fact, you got whipped a lot more as everything seemed to need to be hurried up. You didn't quite understand why until about, I want to say, 10 hours later. One of the fire giants who was making you move faster suddenly storms through and speaks in giant to the rest of the giants there, and they all just stop what they're doing and start walking away. What do you do as you see the giants almost just ignoring you?
Well, you said that they wanted him quiet, so is he like gagged at all, or is he just kind of back?
You have shackles on you, which are, you've got a set of manacles around your feet that are chained together, and there's a chain that connects them to another set of manacles that are on your wrists, and so motion is a bit difficult right now.
Yeah.
But then leading from that is a last chain that goes over your mouth and wraps around the back of the head.
Well, that's just not nice at all. Well, they're gone. Look around, see if the other slaves are responding or reacting at all to the fact that all of the giants are not caring much about what we're doing right now.
Roll an insight check.
Yeah. Here we go.
Whether it's because they don't understand what's going on or through sheer fear, the other prisoners don't change their behavior at all. Maybe they didn't notice. It could just be that they're afraid that this is all just some ploy, but they don't change their behavior. They continue pushing on.
Okay. Well, I'm going to stop and try to get their attention to the best of my ability. I don't know if I'm manacled and bound and my voice is... Well, can verbal components... Yeah, can verbal spell components come through with my voice like this?
The verbal components of spells are so precise in the way that they happen, because as a bard, when you the power comes from your music, and so if you were using just your voice to do the verbal components of a spell, you need your voice to hit the right pitches. But unfortunately, because of the way that they have muzzled you, yes, you can speak roughly through your teeth, but you're unable to open your jaw enough to be able to get to the right notes for any magic. Or any magic that require verbal components, at least.
Right. Let's see. Well, I'm going to try to break free of my manacle, my bindings.
Okay. How are you going to try and break free?
Can I acrobatics through out of this?
So,
because it doesn't sound like
you're shackled up.
Yeah.
But you're a little halfling, right?
Yes. I'm a very little man.
Yeah, very little man, little tuft of hair, but you're tightly shackled up.
Yeah.
In what way do you think you could acrobatics your way out of manacles? If you come up with a good enough way, I'll let you roll for it.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to think of. What if so the manacles that I'm on, to whatever they're chained to, how loose is that chain?
That chain is fairly loose, so you have quite a freedom of movement You can't like do jumping jacks, like spread out completely, but you can move around.
Okay. So what? And I'm connected to some greater mechanical device that we're turning.
You're just pushing on it. You're not chained to it at all. You could stop. No one's willing to stop yet because they think they're going to get a lashing.
Oh, well then I'm going to stop and let's see. And I'm going to try to position myself in such a way that this thing we're spinning and my chains are kind of, they meet and they could kind of break the chains. If that makes sense, if I'm visualizing this right.
Okay. So you're... All right, so you're thinking, how can I use the mechanism that's moving around to help break out my chains?
Right.
Okay? Go ahead and make an intelligence check, just straight intelligence. Let's see. So not a save. Yeah, perfect. All right, so a 14. You take a moment, you start looking at the system. Okay, so it's a wooden bar. Everyone's pushing against the wooden bar, and there's some steps, grooves that are in the floor that help people push. No, that wouldn't work. So the wooden bar is connected to a large central pillar, but that pillar is connected to a series of metal gears up at the top, and that mechanism is actually quite precise. It's possible you immediately start climbing up the pillar. You throw your chain over one of the parts of the cog, and you wait and wait, hoping to see if it either jams the cog or snaps the chain. Okay. Couple seconds go by, the gears start grinding together. You see that the other slaves maybe trying to struggle because they've got to push past this extra force, but as they do so, it snaps free. The chain is broken, and because now that the chain is broken, you can effectively loosen the chain. You've still got manacles wrapped around your wrists and your ankles and on your face, but there's no chain connecting any of them.
Right. So what does the contraption on my face look like then?
It simply looks like a metal circlet that wraps around your face and grips underneath your jaw. If you try to kind of like sticking in, it's not attached to your mouth in any way.
Yeah.
But the more you push down, like open your mouth, the more painful it would be.
Right. Well, with my hands all roughly freed up, I'm going to try to motivate the other slaves to stop doing what they're doing, and you communicate as much as I can, like gesturing, like we gotta go. They're not caring about this. We're gonna go. There's a lot of us. We can get out of the situation.
Okay. Go ahead and roll a persuasion check.
Persuasion check. That's what I like to hear.
So you spend the better part of a good 10-15 minutes persuading a couple people. One or two you actually had to physically pull off of the mechanism as they were just refusing. No, gotta push, gotta keep. It took you a while, but you did manage to convince all of them to stop. And they look very scared because they're worried that now that they've stopped and the mechanism has stopped moving, that something's going to happen. But nothing happens. Everything's fine. You then spend the next little while making sure that you gather as much of the people that are remaining as you get your equipment. You step away from the corridor, away from that mechanism, down a corridor where you know that they were keeping all of the slaves' belongings. And they were keeping them in a room filled with cages. Now, you had seen these cages before. Each of these cages had a single slave kept within them. And you noticed that each time a fire giant would come in to swap out one of the slaves, because they would do that from time to time. They would pull a slave out of the cage, put another slave in. They would always make a point of taking the collars off the slave that was in the cage and putting them on the slave that was going in. Mm-hmm. And then the other slave would be sent to work. And it was that was the way that they did their shift changing. So you're used to every night or whenever your shift finishes, they would pull you towards one cage, take a collar off one of them that was in the cage and put it on you. This time, as you enter into that room with all of those cages, you see something quite that shocks you quite a bit. 11 of the cages have slaves in them that are not moving. People that you had spent days with, not really getting to know them because you didn't really have the time or manner to do so, but you felt some form of companionship with these fellow slaves. You now look at them and they look withered, like all of the meat on them had been sucked dry. Their skin is tight to the bones. Their flesh looks kind of green and broken. These people are obviously dead, but the way in which they died, it seems strange. It seems like all of the life of them has been sucked out of them completely. Mm-hmm. Do you do anything seeing that sight?
Well, first, can I guess maybe a religion or an arcana to see if I can figure out, or if I know just from my experiences, what would have caused that kind of death specifically?
So go ahead and roll an arcana check and a history check for good measure.
Ugh. Of course, I'm a bard getting 5s on their knowledge checks. Yeah. Here to save the day, guys. Okay.
You don't know what kind of magic. You assume it's got to be magic. Right. You hope this isn't natural, and you hope this isn't going to happen to you. You've never experienced this kind of thing before. You don't know what it's about. You haven't seen it happening to other people, so you don't know anything about it.
Okay. Well,
you find your stuff is on the far side of this large chamber.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna go get my stuff. I mean, okay. I can't carry it too well, I'm assuming, but I'm gonna see what I can do, and at least get going as much as I can. Okay. Is my fiddle there? Well, all of my stuff is there, right?
Everything is there.
Are my hands free enough that I could effectively play a violin?
Yes, you effectively have metal wristbands on now.
Oh,
so if you were, in terms of mechanics-wise,
yeah,
it's going to be hard for you to stealth because these metal things will make noise. There's right. bits of chain dangling off of them, but you're not restrained in any way because of them anymore.
Right. Let's see.
So we then, as you are picking up your stuff and kind of leading all of the humans down the staircase to the main chamber proper, we move on to our regular heroes. You are sat inside the Duke and Duchess's bedchambers. You hear the commotion going on outside. You know that that the fire giants are probably following your instruction to start moving things out and get out of the city. What are you guys doing?
I'm gonna ask Gamble if he's feeling up to walking, and same with Jasper. I think our 10 minutes that we gave them is coming down to it now.
So Gamble says that if what they say is correct and we don't have to fight our way out of here, then I'll be fine. But it's looking a bit tough. looking a bit rough. Jasper, he immediately hops to his feet, kind of shakes a little bit as his legs are not quite used to carrying him quite so much yet. Stretches. Oh, never better. Let's go.
Good. All right, everybody, get out of the fort.
I think we need to complete a longer short rest. I do not feel 10 minutes is sufficient for us to catch our wind.
Well, I completely agree with you. That's something that we had to have decided before we told Torvath that we'd only give them 10 minutes. What are we going to look like if we don't hold up our end of that? We're going to look weak. You are muted.
Still there, then they will be there an hour from now or 10 minutes from now. It matters not.
Okay, whatever.
Just I will feel much more capable of fighting any remaining foes if I have some time to recover from my wounds. As I'm sure Gamil would agree.
Okay. So you spend the better part of more of an hour getting ready and rested. So go ahead and expend any hit die and get back anything that refreshes on a short rest. Second wind refreshes on a short rest, right? It does. So Gamel will use second wind prior to resting. 1d10 plus 6. Okay. And then he will use one hit die. Six, okay. Cool. So, after having a short rest, after resting a little bit, this is about the time when all of a sudden Loic, you feel a tingling sensation as if the air is starting to get a little electrified around you. The buzzing feels strange, and then next thing you know, Erin is stood right next to you holding onto your arm.
Oh, there you are. Hello.
Erin,
There,
you
there.
have, from your perspective, Erin, you were holding onto Loic's hand.
Yeah.
You stepped into the portal from Arborea, and you've stepped out, and now you're in a room. Go ahead.
With dead bodies on the floor and
Yep.
what, like,
There you are! What took you so long? Where would you go?
we just left.
Yes.
What happened?
I'll turn to Aaron and I'll explain that there was a little bit of a mishap with the usage of the Cupid Gate the second time around on the return. There might have been some static electricity, some subspace particles slipped in between our hands or something, and there was a little bit of a time dilation. You still landed where you were supposed to land, but just not at the exact appropriate time. We weren't worried. I was going to locate you if we didn't find you naturally, but now that we have, welcome back. We
As you're
did a
explaining
thing.
this to Erin, Jasper jumps up, hands up. He's like, "Oh, who are you?
Who are
If you
you?
mean us danger, we will slay you."
Down, Jasper. This is one of us, one of our people.
You got a new friend?
Yes, this is Jasper Aaron.
He was the prisoner inside Duke Zalto's cage hammer.
Oh yeah, I saw you. Can you see me? I flipped the bird last time I saw you.
I saw these lot fighting Duke Zalto. Where were you?
What he just said.
I just explained this, Jasper. Subspace particles.
Don't ask me. I have no idea what he did.
Strange.
This magic stuff is way beyond my skill set.
Well, so we kill Duke Zalto, we kill Lady Duke Zalto. Um, we turned another fire giant into a butterfly, and when I say we, I mean our wizard Loic. And we told the butterfly giant when he became just a giant to flee this iron slag, and he had only 10 minutes to do so. And he should take all of his fire giant kin with him and leave all of the slaves and prisoners here. We meant
So,
to.
So I missed all the fun.
Would you miss that fun? There may be more fun. Who knows? We shall see.
we did emphasize on Torvath taking the kids. The kids are still around, alive. We noticed when we were passing by just after coming back that Exalto and Brimskarda also have a daughter named Cinderhild, who is fairly young compared to her brother.
Okay.
He mentioned, the giant mentioned something about them having respect for those who have the strength to kill their leaders, but it's not necessarily a clean cut and dry situation. I imagine he will come back to challenge us as soon as Zaltember will come back to challenge us as soon as possible. So we weren't really entirely sure what to do with the kids. Hopefully they've been taken away, back to the east, far east, to the glaciers.
We'll deal with that when it's done.
Hey.
When it comes to it, what do we have the conch?
Yes, we do have the conch. I found the conch. I almost forgot.
The important bit.
Yes.
Okay.
A lot has happened.
I just want to let you.
How long was I gone for?
An hour or two?
You've done a
It
lot
was
in
about an hour.
You guys have done a lot in an hour.
We kind of got lucky. We found a perfect place to set ambush. So anyways, now is the time when we make our triumphant exit.
I did want to let you know that I noticed among Jew and your kind that you may be squeamish regarding the death of the little ones. I have no such compunctions, and if we need to, I will kill them myself.
I'm not squeamish about it. It's just, is it a necessity?
We don't know. We will find out. But I do not want to burden your conscience.
If it needs to be done, it gets done.
Jasper speaks up. I thank you all for helping me, for saving my life. My order will repay you greatly. But I would just like to say, slaying of children, whether they are giant or not, is frowned upon. I can offer you aid and support from the order, only if you keep honor.
Your objections are noted.
If they wanted someone honorable to come tend to this situation and succeed, they wouldn't have gotten us.
Hey, I'm standing right here.
Okay, so are we going now? Are we ready to move? Are you guys ready to move? Because this feels like we just left. I'm ready for some action.
Jace, let us see if our words were heeded.
Very well. Step back away from the fort. Say the command word to shrink it. Pick it up in my pocket. Dust in my hands.
Okay. Let me grab the four of you. Aaron, stop moving. All right. You explore the rest of the area. You start making your way out, and just as you had expected, over the course of the hour, people started moving and getting out of here. You find yourselves...
Aaron, can you drag us?
Yeah, sorry. I need to zoom in. There we go. So, the four of you, you find yourselves following the crowds as they are all making their way towards the large double doors that are behind the great Colossus. The giants are making their way out, and just as you enter into the large chamber and you see this huge Colossus that is only half done, now that you're close to it, you realize that there was no hope that Zalto could ever rebuild this Colossus without Mega at the primordial. You look up and you notice that where Loic had once seen that there was one gem in the eye, there are no gems in the eyes anymore. And as the giants are moving through this door, all of them grouped together, one giant in particular turns. He's a bit smaller than the rest of the giants, but in terms of his stature, the way he's holding himself, he seems to hold more command to himself. Like, he looks like he looks deadly. There is a hunger in him that seems to be directed towards you as he turns and stares right at you all. You may have slain my father, but I will best each and every one of you when my time comes.
Until then, are you headed to the east?
Where I go does not matter to puny folk like you.
Yeah, okay. See ya.
Why wait? If you wish revenge, face me now!
There would be no honor in slaying you.
As very convenient. I believe you are afraid. You are a foolish little boy, and you will be wise to run before your mouth gets you into more trouble.
What is your name, puny little creature?
You stand before Artir Argentiferro. I killed your father, and I killed your mother, and if you do not flee now, I will kill you. Where you stand?
Well, Artir, I will be coming for you first, little one. And then he starts turning to walk away.
This is what I thought.
In his hands, as he's moving away, Loic, you notice that he has a large red gem.
Oh, snap! Is he at least 30 feet away? Is he more than 30 feet away?
He is more than 30 foot away from you.
How
Why?
far is he?
What are you trying to do?
I could attempt to mage hand and try to get it from him.
Okay, so you can move within that range and trying to cast Mage Hand to stop him.
Is there any way that I can do it stealthily? Well, they're talking
Go
to
ahead
Artir.
and roll a... Well, would a sleight of hand check be done with... Go ahead and roll a sleight of hand check. Okay.
Problem.
Imagining that the Mage Hand itself does exactly what your hand would, you carefully imagine, okay, if I was right behind him, I'd push like this, I'd quickly pull, I'd move, and
Use the
I'd be quick
wrinkle
about
of his hands to my advantage.
Let's see if he notices. My favorite black die
Failed you?
has betrayed me.
Yes!
A natural one.
Yes.
Give me that!
A moment later, as he moves and continues moving, you see that he's waving his arms as if he still thinks he has hold of it, but he doesn't. Your mage hand has managed to pull it away, hide behind the door, while the rest of the giants...
Aaron's going to see this and just pat him on the back and go, like, to Loic, and go, oh, well done. Like, oh, yes. Like, he just noticed that, and he was like, he wanted that as well.
At about the same time, you all, as the last of the giants is leaving, and you're congratulating yourselves for having managed to collect that gem, you see a halfling carrying a whole bunch of stuff, including a strange contraption of pipes and a bag. It is a set of bagpipes, for those that know instruments of the civilized world, leading a bunch of slaves out from the chambers towards you all, very much in a heroic fashion.
I wave to them as I approach, and we make our way out.
Have you bothered to attempt to take the muzzle off your mouth?
Yeah, I would have tried. I will, if any of the slaves look like they could do it as well. I figure we would have tried to help each other get as well out of our bindings as possible.
Okay. Together, a couple of you work hard. You don't get all of them off, but you make sure to get the important ones. Mm-hmm. You focus mostly on everyone's chains, loosening all of the chains and making sure that everyone has freedom of movement. And in particular, since you helped them out, they remove the muzzle from you.
Oh, good. Well, in that case, if I have my bagpipes and we are... Oh, no, we don't know that things are safe to go yet, so I'm not going to be blowing on those bagpipes. But I do wave to them.
What you see, leading this group of slaves away, you see a horde of giants walking out their front doors, and 4 normal-sized individuals just stood there, watching them leave, waving goodbye.
I'm gonna, from where I'm standing, kind of yell out to the 4 normal-sized people, "Hey, what's going on here? Where are they going?"
Hopefully they go far away, never to return. And I say that loud enough for Saltember to hear. Never to return!
All right, well, why are they all leaving, though? What happened in here? We were pushing some contraption that they had us hooked up to, and they just kind of all left. It's more than a little unsettling.
The leader of these fire giants, we kill him. And the leader's wife, we kill her too. They no longer have reason to stay here, so now they flee. Like the cowards they are!
I'm gonna roll a sense motive to see if I can get a vibe.
A sense motive? What edition?
I want to get a vibe on. I don't know who they. Oh, insight. Yeah, sorry. I want to get a vibe on these people. I've never met them, and they're strangers. Even though they're regular-sized people, it doesn't mean I can trust them.
They seem like a strange bunch, like a really strange bunch, and you've got a large, dark-skinned individual who's talking to you with a strange accent you've not really heard of before. Next to him is a dwarf carrying a large weapon, which you've never seen the like of before. Next to him is a fighter wearing clean armor, like not a single dent on him, but apparently they've just fought against Duke Zalto, so that's probably a bit strange. And then next to him is a wizard with a tentacle for an arm. You have reason to believe what they're saying.
Yeah.
Just simply because they contradict most things just in general. So this is possible.
Yeah. Well, thank you all for doing what you did. Do you think you can help me get these slaves out of here? They probably have family, people that love them, that they love, that they want to go to.
Of course! We would be happy to do this. And I stick out my hand and say, "My name is Artir Argentaferro. Who are you?"
I approach and I offer my tiny little halfling hand that probably entirely fits within his palm to shake. And it's like, Danrick Greenbottle, nice to meet you.
Is this all of the slaves and prisoners? Are there more that we need to recover?
These are all the ones that I knew of. We were all working in a kind of a chain gang together way back where. If there's more in the temple or in the mines, I don't know. But this is who I was with.
We cleared out some of the mines earlier, some dwarves.
All right.
My name's Aaron, by the way. Aaron.
Nice to meet you, Aaron.
Do you any of you require any kind of medical attention, or any food? We've got food on the ship. In fact, is the ship still there? Like,
Yeah, I think the plan was to either use a sending spell, which I have not prepared today, or Artir. Were you going to use your Raven?
We said the Raven
Oh.
to alert the ship of the coming dwarves. We expect that the ship would have taken Lael back to Silvery Moon, and hope that the ship will be there when we emerge from the mines.
I would hope she didn't take the ship.
As every time each one of you says the word ship, Danrick's ears kind of perk up a little bit, and his face starts to show a smile that he hasn't shown in a few weeks. So excuse me, did you say a ship? I can certainly help you guys out if you help us out getting out of here. Got a lot of experience with those things, and I think I might be your man. If you'll take me. Also, I could play a mean bagpipe, if you couldn't tell. And I could make your time jolly and friendly with the power of music and love. What do you say?
Sign me up.
All right.
Just sound like a wonderful companion.
He does a little on the bagpipe.
Part of that
No, it's not too
excitement
sure.
about the idea of a ship is they're talking about a ship that took them here. You are high in the mountains. There isn't water around for a good couple 100 miles. But they got here by ship.
Yeah, well, I don't think he's thinking that too far ahead of it. I think,
Okay.
yeah, it'll be a nice surprise for him to see a ship that doesn't go in the water. But he just wants a ship.
So in terms of methods of communicating with the ship...
No, we have more ideas. Aaron can use his flying
Don't worry.
carpet. I can fly.
Okay.
We can go look for him.
Cool. I was just going to say, though, that Artir, your steed was unsummoned from the material plane when you passed through to Arborea. Okay. All right. So, what would you guys like to do? You do have the rest of Iron's Lag if you wanted to explore, or you could leave. It's up to you.
What was the
Yeah.
condition of the slave parade? Are they injured, or would they be able to march through, collecting more slaves?
So they they were all of the slaves that were in this area. You know that the Duke, or at least Danrick knew that Zalto didn't trust slaves to do much. So all of the rest of the forges were manned by his people, his giants, ogres, and goblins. The only thing slaves were good for were keeping that wheel turning. And so all of the slaves in the thing that are alive still are with you at the door. It totals about 30 slaves that are still alive.
right. Danrick, sorry.
Yep.
You guys have obviously been here a little while. Is there anything good? Have you seen a lot of this place? Is there anything worth investigating that you've seen?
Well, there were some strange-looking dead slaves. Couldn't tell what got them, but they didn't look like a normal kind of dead. They were in cages back by where we were chained up. I don't know much really else about them, but they might be worth investigating. They might be worth just piecing out. getting our freedom from this place. That's
So-
on
Jasper
you.
looks at each of the four companions that are with him, and then turns to you, and with obvious pain in his eyes, how many were lost?
Oh. Honestly, when I went through there, it was a hard thing to see. I did not count how many. There were a lot more than I would have liked. I mean, we've got these guys here, and they made it out, but those, I don't know, there was at least one per cage. I don't remember how many cages there were, though. I don't know, man.
What are
Sorry.
you talking about? Is this like a disease? Are you guys infected?
I don't think we're infected. I don't feel infected.
Erin and Danric, Jasper explained to us that the Duke and Duchess of this fortress were employing some sort of magical healing linked to these prisoners, that they would suck their life from them to heal themselves. This is most likely what you describe.
Well, that's awful.
Jace.
Then they very likely are beyond our means. If you'll allow a moment for a prayer, we can send their souls off with some kind of peace.
Yeah, at the very least, Jasper, you'll want to go out down there and identify the bodies, right?
I would. Give me 10 minutes. I'll meet you outside of this cursed place.
Can you open the door?
The large door is still open. There's huge double doors that are like a good 50-foot tall. Huge adamantine doors were opened by the giants as they lead. It just opens out into the cold and the side of the mountain. Jasper disappears off, comes back about 10 minutes later with nothing on him, but you can see that his hands appear to be covered in a mix of blood and something green, suggesting that maybe he was handling them in some way. He doesn't really look up, sullen, facing down, as he just walks straight out the door.
Should we do something with this giant contraption?
No, it's useless without any kind of engine. I have the engine. It's
Very
just
well.
a hunk of metal otherwise.
And I address the other prisoner slaves. Said, just checking, did you guys know anyone else? This is the last trip out of this mountain. If you know of anyone else who might be here, now would be the time to speak up so we can lend them our aid.
I think that's it. Yep.
Very well. Let us escape.
So charging through the front door, out into the side of the mountain, the heat of the thing is the iron slag is immediately dissipated, like pushed away, as the cold mountain air just slaps you in your face. It's nice and fresh. You see the slaves immediately start rolling around in the snow, like having a great time because it's finally cool. It's finally cold.
I will also roll around in the snow with them, just for no reason other than it's fun.
But after a few minutes, they start trudging through the snow, trying to keep heading a different path than the way that the giants went. You look and you see that the giants are taking a path out eastward along the mountainside. But the people naturally start moving southwest direction, which you can gather is probably towards Citadel Felbar.
So I'm going to stare at them walking southward and ask, are we just going to let them go, or do we want to ask if they want to lift? I'm sure 30 people standing could fit on the ship. It'd be tight, but it'd be a lot faster.
Yes, good. Give him a lift.
Jace.
Yeah, I'm gonna
We
run
need to
up.
call the ship. Yeah. Hey, guys. Whoa. No need to walk. No need to walk. Just stay here a sec. We need to call the ship.
Where's the ship coming from? There's no water. What exactly is happening here?
I
Just
use my
wait.
tentacle to point skyward.
Looks up.
Again, Ride of the Valkyries starts playing.
He plays it on the bagpipes once he realizes what's happening.
So am
who's
I going
calling?
up there, or are you going up there? Aaron? I'd have to use a spell. You wouldn't.
Aaron's going to start firing some fireball cantrips.
Oh,
up
sure,
in
yeah,
the
I'll do
air,
that too.
and just try and like a
Flares.
signal flare to see if we can get them to acknowledge us.
I will see them doing this and I will join. I said, pew, 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 pew.
Jasper just looks on in amazement. Wow, you folk are weird.
Seek our little pleasures where we can find them.
About half an hour goes by before a shadow starts creeping in through the clouds, and it gets larger and larger until the ship breaks out. And this is the first time you see this, Danric. It is a long ship, average. Well, it's kind of an average-sized ship. You could probably fit. It would probably take a crew of maybe 8 or 9 people to run it truly efficiently. But it's moving through the air, and then the balloon breaks out from the clouds. And you're like, wow, that ship is being carried by a balloon.
Would he have ever
Interesting.
seen a ship like this before?
Roll a history check.
Before the ships land, by the way, Aaron's going to sort of suggest to Loic and the others in the group to not mention the conch to Brassic and the crew that we've got it. He still doesn't trust the crew. He
Yeah.
doesn't want to mention it.
I'd like to actually have a formal discussion with everyone once we get back to Felbar.
Yeah.
Okay. So, Danric, you've heard of people attempting to build a skyship. Some of the methods that you've heard of just didn't really work. You heard of people trying to use just pure magic to keep it afloat, but the sheer amount of mages needed to keep it afloat meant that there was no room for any crew, so they couldn't man it. And then alternatively, people tried to build it with just a simple balloon, but it never went any further than just a balloon dangling above a ship. It never actually managed to take off. So this is the first time you've ever seen an airship functioning, and with such maneuverability that it has. It slowly descends around in a circle as it winds down, touching down with its long, huge, like ski sledge bars as it sits down on the snow. And a cloaked figure, tall, at 6 foot tall, steps over the side of the ship. Silver, dragon head-shaped mask on his face, leans over, and with Brassic's voice, so you recognize him, "Thought it was you. First thing we see is a whole group of giants fleeing the place, then a lot of fireballs.
Who else could it be?
Who else could it be?"
You should have seen it. Our wizard was magnificent. He split Duke Zalto in half with a spell. It was gruesome.
Oh, that was you? Nice.
No big deal.
So, you felled the giant lord.
Jace, and we have all of these lovely people who we would like to bring back to Citadel Felbar. Can we accommodate these peoples?
We will make space for them. Of course we will. Bring them aboard. They'll have cabins, they'll have food. We've got enough stores for them.
You are a good man.
Thank you, Brass.
You're welcome. Come aboard. We saw the lady heading out when she left. We did not take her. She took her people and went. I assume all is well. But she did not wish to be followed.
Thanks.
Okay. So, his men start getting off the ship and helping everyone, gathering everything you possibly can and putting it into the ship, giving everyone a bed and a hammock, as much space as possible. They managed to fit everyone on this ship, but it pretty much takes up the entirety of the bottom floor. So there's no space for you guys on the bottom. But let's pull you all over to the airship proper. And now Danrik and Loic.
Yeah.
Now that you're on the ship and everything's ready to go, Brassic returns. So, I assume you, having slayed the fire giant, Lord, you've done the task that is needed for you. And what is next for us? We aim to serve.
Priority right now is to get these people back to Felbar. Once we get there, then we're going to have a rest and talk about what the next course of action is.
Okay. Felbar it is.
This is a pivotal point, potentially.
Okay. Flying from Ironslag to Felbar tells you the trip is 100 mile, which with the speed the ship goes at, it will be 2 days travel. 60 mile a day.
Felt like 3 hours when we went there the first time.
We were flying downhill.
No, that's true. That's true. Flying downhill. Up a mountain, you flew downhill. No, fair enough. Trying to think. The speed of the airship is... It's triple your speed. And it can continue going when you can't. So normally you can go 24 miles in 8 hours. So it can do 75 miles in 8 hours, but it can keep going 3 times that much. So it'll take it just over 8 hours to get to Felbar as it continues to push on. Okay, so Brassic doesn't say anything, but the journey is 8 hours or so. You guys can gain the benefits of a long rest, a full rest. Danrik, you are, for all intents and purposes, completely healed, replenished.
Yeah.
The slavery had exhausted you, but you are now completely refreshed and fine. Is there anything you guys would like to do over the course of the 8-hour journey?
Well, Danrik's going to see if he can make himself handy on this ship, even though it's different than what he's... Even though it's not a sea ship, it's still a ship at the end of the day. So whether that's playing some, using some bardic music to inspire the crew, if there is a crew on this ship that would actually get it moving like there is on a traditional ship, or if it's just keeping things tidy and making the ship move forward. He wants to carry his weight as much as he can since this ship is helping him and the other slaves out.
Okay. So, I think we have someone joining us. I hope he's not driving whilst calling in.
Well, that's not safe.
So, do not D&D and drive. Welcome, Matthew. Carl, did this mess up camera positions and whatnot?
Not exceptionally.
Okay, all right.
But if we want to give Gamel a spot, I'll need a minute to switch out the layout.
Where are these? Yes, where are you teaching? How do I...
You're cutting out there, Gamel.
Use that like that.
Yeah. All right. So you talk to a couple of the crew. You get to know them a little bit. They don't really talk much, but you do start singing some sea shanties, and they start singing along. And that brings back memories of Wave and how he would do the same thing.
Aaron's getting a headache.
Yep.
Hey, I've been kind enough to keep the bagpipes away at least. It's not so bad.
He was sick of the sea shanties with Wave. He thought he just got rid of them, and now they return.
Yeah.
So over the course of the 8 hours, you do figure out and learn that this ship, the reason why it is able to maneuver so well and keep moving and work, is simply because the height and the balloon is being kept aloft by hot air created by a fire elemental that has been trapped inside the engine. And the propulsion is driven by a fan that is driven by air that is given out by an air elemental that has also been trapped.
Well, actually, having found this out, would Danric have any way to talk to these elementals and just try to make friends with them while they're working?
The cultists would suggest otherwise.
Okay.
These are slaves that have been trapped. Communicating with them would probably not be a good idea.
They also
but
speak very strange languages.
Yeah. Well, Danric doesn't like the idea of slaves operating this ship, and he prefers a sea-bound ship for this. People should appreciate the art of sailing.
It's like having Wave, but as a person.
So Aaron's going to notice that this small halfling is actively taking notice and creeping around the ship and doing stuff. And Aaron doesn't really trust people until he's really seen them in action. So he's going to approach Danric and be like, "So, where do you hail from? How come you were in the custody of those giants?"
Yeah, well, I was just, I mean, if you want the full story, many, many years ago, I was born in a small halfling village, but I dreamed of the seas. There was a port nearby, you see, and the pirates, they would come in and they would tell us tales, and one day I joined them. But basically, I grew up on ships. I'm in a ship. This is interesting to me. This giant just got us when we were at port one day. Scooped everyone up. We've been trying to get out as much as we could, but now that I am free and on something somewhat familiar to me, you know, it just feels nice to be in fresh air, even though we're in fresh air at a much higher elevation than I'm really comfortable.
Is this ship familiar to you?
Sorry?
Is the ship familiar to you? I have some limited sailing experience, but this seems very different from anything I've sailed.
No, this is nothing like I've been on before. I've stuck strictly to this sea. But this one is something different entirely. Did you know they use elementals to make this fly? There's not people doing it. They just have a fire monster up there. What's that about? I don't know. Anyway.
They've got an air elemental blowing out the back as well. So
is that ethical? Shouldn't they? I don't know. Sorry. I'm not going to get caught up in that.
These... Don't question these guys too much.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I'll take your word for it. You know them better than I do, and they're wearing scary masks. What brings you here, Mr. Aaron?
Saving the world stuff.
Ooh. I like the world. I like saving it. What's the big mission now? What brings you on a boat filled with all these people in crazy masks and fire elementals flying the boat and air elementals blowing the boat and into Iron Slag?
Well, yeah, the giants. There's a bit of an uprising with the giants at the moment. I don't know how long you've been locked up with them, so I don't know how up to date you are with current affairs.
Well, I couldn't understand a word they were saying when we were in there anyway. So, not very up to date at all, I'm afraid.
Well, all giant kind are currently causing havoc across Faerun, so we are attempting to quell the situation.
Ah,
Me and my friends.
understood. Well, if you need any assistance, be it on a ship or be it out in the just out there, I've got more than a few tricks up my sleeve that can possibly help you guys get along.
Well, we'll see. We could always use the help. We've lost a few people on the way here. We were a bigger team when we started. A few had to go for other reasons. A few have decided that there was better courses to take than the ones we're following. Luckily, we haven't lost anybody fatally yet. But,
Well, you guys helped me get out of that spot, so I think I owe you something. So if there's any help at all, I can heal, I can sing. I can heal and sing.
well,
Both are...
just rest up for now.
Okay. Fair enough. I can sing a song right now if you want.
I'm okay. I'm good. I'm good.
Are you sure?
I'm fine.
All right.
But just make sure your fellows are okay. I want to make sure they're well rested. And we'll get you back to set that bell bar, and then we'll do something. We'll see what's up from
Well,
there.
I appreciate the help and the care, kind sir.
So the time moves on. Yes.
There's one thing that I would like to do during this trip. I would like to examine the baggie. Identify.
Yes. Okay. So you cast Identify, or you at least spend the ritual, right? Of Identify. Yeah. Over the 10 minutes that you spend doing so, you learn that it is a bag of repeating. Tiny little pouch and you saw the two different pouches. Any small object of no value that is placed inside the smaller of the two pouches will be duplicated in the larger pouch. So in effect, any sort of ammunition that is used, and the bag's big enough that it could hold bullets for Gamel. It could hold small bolts for anyone that holds crossbows. But that's about it, really. But it would duplicate, keep a fresh pack, always 20, and everything would be considered magical.
Is there any way to tell using the Identify spell, or perhaps an Arcana check or a History check, to figure out where a special item like this could have come from? Because I've never seen anything like it. And I'm wondering if maybe there's a pocket of mages I don't know about.
Roll an investigation check. Okay. You look over it and you find the telltale signs of the Harples.
Should have known.
They had created this. You look at it, it's probably used as more like a toy for playing with slings and throwing rocks.
Jacks, lose a jack.
Yeah, that kind of thing. But it could be used for combat reasons for you guys, especially because you have Gamel who needs that ammunition.
Right.
So, anything else you guys would like to do while you're flying from Ironslag to Felbar?
Gonna give the baggie to him.
Gamel, if you are listening and can hear, Loic has just handed you a bag that is the magical item that we discussed previously.
Sweet. While Gamma looks into that, he's also going to just keep smithing on his armor to try and get that done as quick as he can.
Okay. You're starting to incorporate the black dragon scales into the armor now, correct?
That's right, and I think the green dragon scales he'll just hold on to and see if he can find a better use for them, because he's not going to need them personally.
Okay. Cool.
Aaron, being that he literally rested, turned up, and then walked out, is very fresh still. So he is going to spend his 8 hours assisting the crew and again trying to learn how to run the ship by himself.
Okay. Go ahead and make an investigation check, Aaron. Okay. In a method of showing you trust and like keeping you engaged, Delsophine, the female who is more or less the engineer on the ship, it practically runs you through everything. She shows you where all of the valves and everything that's on the main engine are to control how much heat the fire elemental gives off. She does warn you that the fire elemental will always be giving off heat, so if you don't close it properly, then the heat might escape and it might damage and warp the metal. So when you're doing it, you have to follow these very precise mechanisms and methods. And then similar sort of mechanism on the air elemental. But that is more like what matters more with that one is the way in which it coincides with the propeller system and how they maneuver and do the tight moving. But you learn how to ride it. You have enough knowledge of it now at the end of the 8 hours.
Cool, thank you.
Okay. So you take the ship after it's ridden the way. It gets back to Citadel Felbar in the same manner as before. You actually skirt around the mountainside and come back through the gap in the mountain between the hammer and anvil statues and sets down right in front of the main doors to Felbar. And whereas previously the doors had been closed and the city was all closed off for you because of the infiltration that they had suffered, the doors flung wide open as soon as your ship arrives. There is a greeting party ready to take you, and they immediately notice all of the people that you've saved and start dealing with them instead of you, and you're able to kind of slip past all of the greeting party.
Loic, could you summon forth your tower so we could present the giant heads to the king?
Is the king around?
You head in, and at the back of this greeting party, you find Kopek, the excited little dwarf. Was it Kopek?
Kopek happened around Imrith.
Yes, that's true. That's true.
I don't think this dwarf was named.
Name's terrible. Sorry. Okay, so there is a little advisor there that getting my NPCs mixed up that leads you towards the hall of the king that's in there, King Morin. He is currently in court. You see him dealing with a civil dispute. Some dwarves are arguing about who has full control over the mine systems that have recently been discovered. And very fairly, he splits them in two, and they each get a portion. They agree to it, and then they head out. You find yourselves now, the city is more or less watching the court dealings, but you're able to walk along this aisle with the people either side of you, straight in towards King Morin. Greetings. It is good to see you all again.
My intention was to bring the giant heads out at the beginning of our walk so as to parade them through the city to cause a spectacle.
If that's what you want to do.
Then, yeah, I'll help you do that.
And while the tower is out, I say, Aaron, come here, check this out. I got this giant sword. It is too big for me. What did you think?
And It's going to be like that, isn't it?
It's huge. You can't heft it in your medium form. It is the Duchess's greatsword.
Yeah.
You figure, though, that if you are in your hybrid form, and therefore a large creature, you could probably wield this greatsword, and the sheer weight behind it would mean that it is a more powerful greatsword.
Okay. It might be useful in some circumstances, but I don't think I can carry it with me day to day. If we leave it in here, it might be pretty useful.
Look, can we leave this giant blade in the tower?
How tall is it?
Lengthwise, it's about 8 foot long.
Yeah, definitely. I can fit
Put
very
it-
nicely.
Put it on the wall.
As a trophy.
Yeah.
Okay, so carrying fire giant heads, which are big.
Yeah, more like dragging.
Yeah,
Aaron,
okay,
Aaron,
just dragging them along.
I figure we had.
Aaron will change into. No, he won't. No, he won't. He's going to do that in public. So he'll just try and drag one of the heads.
Well, I figure the dwarves who were set to receive us, they might aid us in this endeavor.
You do set off quite a stir, actually, as the people gather together. The king has a look of shock over his face to see you dragging in and carrying not only Duke Zalto's head, but also his wife's head. He starts laughing. The entire hall just start laughing in more of a nervous laugh. Like they feel like they have to laugh because it's supposed to be funny, but they don't get it. He waves you over. What did you do?
We bring you evidence. The fire giants are fleeing Iron Slag. I present you Duke Zalto and Duchess Brimskarda.
I asked for evidence. You brought back evidence. Are you free to do more? Like that's impressively efficient.
Do you humble us
Might
with your
have some more
compliments?
tasks for you later. Very well. You have saved more than you know. I do not know what the giants had planned with that colossus that they were trying to reforge, but in stopping them, you've saved a lot of trouble.
Does this mean that the fort on the edge of the Moonwood is now available to our drow friends?
Once they arrive and start striking the deal, we will work it out with them. But I don't see your drow friend among you.
No. We don't know exactly what happened, but my theory is that her family ran into some trouble getting here. So she went to tend to that.
Be sure if she's with them, they will make it here.
Yep.
Very well. Very well.
My king, there is...
I must thank you. I must... Please, the city is at your disposal.
I wish
You wish.
I wish to make you aware that Duke Zalto had a male son. He left Iron Slag with the rest of the fire giants. They seemed to honor the show of strength in conquering their chief, but they may return someday. So you do not wish to completely dismiss the possibility of the fire giants. But we did not slaughter all of them. We merely killed these two, We killed 4, but these 2 are the ones we bring before you.
The son's name was Zaltember, and the daughter's name, not to be discounted, is Cinderhild. Fire giant females are reputable for being just as good or bad as their male counterparts. So know this.
There is also the small party that was sent forth from Irislag to Newfort, who may return to it to find it abandoned, and will then therefore seek out their brethren elsewhere. But just be wary in the short term that there are giants in the hills who should be fleeing to the east.
I appreciate it. I will have my men keeping watch, keeping guard. Thank you.
Jace.
He snaps his fingers, and tiny little dwarf just starts running over, and he pulls out a red pillow from behind his back. And the king says, "This is my gift to you heroes, for not only bringing back the heads of Zalto and the Duchess, but from what I hear with the commotion, a lot of my people as well." And the dwarf runs over to you with a big pillow, and on top of the pillow you can see 2 golden statues of lions. They're about 3 inches long, about an inch tall. Hands them to you.
Loic, you look very excited about this.
Animal statuettes!
What are these?
They're animal statuettes! They're like your... Well, first of all, let me check. Let me make sure
Well,
that they're not
Loic's
just...
excited, they need to be good. When
Let me
Loic
make
is
sure.
excited, it's generally good.
Can I roll an Arcana check and see if these are in fact what I believe that they are, or a history check? Either one.
Roll an Arcana check. One second.
So how many
So.
did you say of these? There were 3 of them.
2.
Two of them. Both
A
lions.
pair. Both lions. Okay. You look over them. You can feel the magical energy teeming off of them. You are absolutely certain these are figurines of wondrous power.
Ah! Go up to the
If you
pillow.
can figure out their names, you can summon them.
Well, I'm going to test, just a quick test to see if telepathy could work. I don't know. I believe that this statue is a link to them, but it's not them, so I don't know if it could be used like a telephone or...
Loic, what do these do? Explain. You look like you know.
They're creatures. They're magical creatures that live in the astral plane that can be summoned through these statues. Most of them have unique abilities. Do I know what the lions do?
So,
Maybe we could just ask the dwarf who gave him to us.
Well, I want to do my Loic thing. It sounds smart if I know what they are.
Jace, this makes sense.
you do know what the lions do. Let me pull them up.
Of course, he's Loic.
One second. Okay. So, golden lions. These gold statuettes of lions are always created in pairs. You can use one figurine or both simultaneously. Each can become a lion for up to 1 hour. Once a lion has been used, it can't be used again until 7 days have passed. Okay? But you have 2 of these golden lions. And as you look over them to confirm, like you're getting a little excited, you notice that there is some runic carvings on the belly of each of them.
What kind of runic carvings?
You recognize that the language that's carved in is an ancient form of Dwarvish.
Oh. I might be able to... Well, maybe not. I know regular Dwarvish.
you would be able to recognize, by knowing Dwarvish a little bit, you recognize that these are names that are written on here. So the first one is Grippus, Gripus, and the other one is Antifo, Antipho. Grippus
convenient.
and Antifo.
He says he's looking at it. So the beauty about these babies is that it's very hard to kill them. As far as I know, when they die, they return to the astral plane. They die. They simply get severed from the material plane. But within 7 days, they'll be able to be used once again. Is that right?
Why don't you just do something? Is this like something similar to what you were trying to do, like tether yourself?
Yeah, pretty much. Except not in a way that I have complete control and someone else does not have control. We control these statues by having them, so we control the element that's attached to them. I don't want anyone doing that to me. But yes, it's similar. I got the idea because of it, because of the animal statuette. I was like, why can't I become an animal statuette?
That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
What keen insight. So
Jace, we are all very smart.
Well, my city is at your disposal.
I need you to tell me, King Morin, where any kind of archives you may have are. You store data somewhere.
What kind of data are you looking for?
Looking
I don't know if
specifically-
our little place could really help you.
I'm looking specifically for the teleportation circle to Mirabar.
Ooh.
You guys still trade with them, right?
We do. He leans over, whispers something to one of his advisors. Hey. Okay. That information I know we don't have. It's a closely guarded secret, that one. However, I can point you in the direction of someone who does. Good friend of mine. Name is Gelrin. He's a member of an order known as the Harpers.
Loic narrows his eyes.
They've got a pretty intense teleportation network. I know they have access to it. You could possibly speak to Gelrin.
Where is he? Is he here?
Yeah, he's here. I'll arrange that he meets with you.
Thanks.
Okay. Anything else, friends? Very well. Should you need anything, you know where I am. I must get back to court.
Cool.
Cool. So, as we're walking out, I'll be like, okay, what is our next move? And then
Right. So
suddenly aware of little footsteps behind us because I gather that Dan King is Dan Rick is keeping pace.
Plodding along like, hey guys, hey, I'm here. I can be helpful. I can help. Anything at all. I'm your halfling. Right here.
Whoa, hang on. You're gonna stay with us?
I mean, y'all helped me out of that being a slave in there. I wouldn't be here if you guys didn't show up. So I owe you something.
Well, you know, it's very high risk what we do.
So? That doesn't bother me. If you guys are trying to save the world, I like the world. It's a good place. And, you know, if I put myself in a high-risk situation saving the world, and I die, and the world doesn't get saved anyway, I'm in the same position. So I don't really see that there's a loss here necessarily. But if I can help, if I can put us a little bit forward, then I think it's worth it.
Point taken. All right. Well, Aaron, we need to find some place that is a little more secluded, away from ears and things. I know that there are some sort of sparsely populated corridors back this way.
Well, before you guys get headed, Jasper turns to you all and says to you, well, this is where I separate from you. Thank you again for helping me. Should you ever find yourself in Neverwinter and need some help, use this. And he flips you a coin, which you catch and look over it, and on one side of the coin is carved and painted the head of a green dragon. Aaron kind of has a good idea of what this would represent, and he waves goodbye to you all and steps
Jasper.
away. Yep.
Before you go, remember what I told you about what's coming.
I know.
Eyes on the skies.
We'll be prepared. The Order will be there to help. And then he scuttles off.
And as soon as he leaves, I mention to Aaron and Loic and say, hey, did either of you catch which order he is from? He said the order a few times. I did not catch the order.
I think I'm just going to say it's going to look a little bit shady and a little bit suspicious, but it's going to be to Loic. I think Ilya might be looking over us still.
What's the coin? Didn't look like emerald on.
It's not. It's a little project me and him has started way back when.
Oh.
I think he's still
Okay.
carrying on with it.
Well, great. That's great. He must be doing great if he's got people like Jasper.
Shame he's not here though.
Do you explain any more about how the Order was started?
Oh, that's going to need lots of drinks.
Well,
Fair enough.
Danric is always down for drinks. If that's an option.
It's a long story. Next time we're in a bar, I'll fill you in on the details.
So, end of campaign. Got it.
Cool. So you find yourselves a secluded spot. It's not hard to do so once the court is back in session and all the people have separated and gone their very way. I'm assuming you're doing so without Brassic and any of his men, just the five of you?
Yep.
Okay.
So I'm going to take 10 minutes, and people who have seen me doing this before will recognize immediately that I'm raising a Leomund's hut.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna kind of grab Danric with a tentacle and yank him into it.
He doesn't seem to resist too much. He's used to being thrown around a little bit by the bigger folk.
Right.
So after 10 minutes, the hut is up. You're secluded. You know that you're safe. Go ahead.
So, we could simply have me examine the conch and go immediately to the court.
We have a new guy here. Maybe we should fill him in before we.
Yeah. What is this conch? What's the scoop?
It's going to be like the seventh time
FYI.
I've explained this.
Danric, FYI, if you let this slip, we're gonna have to kill you.
All right. Maybe
My-
keep me away from the bars then.
My little friend, I will explain to you very quickly.
All right.
There is upheaval with the giants, and we need to solve that upheaval, or else the giants will destroy all of the towns in the north and along the Sword Coast. The source of the upheaval appears to have coincided with the disappearance of a man named Hecaton, who is a king of the storm giants. This conch that we just acquired allows us to teleport to the court of the Storm Kings, where we expect to speak with one of his daughters who may know more about his whereabouts. Have I covered everything?
We are not telling the crew about the conch.
What does the crew know?
The crew, well, they're dragon worshippers. And they work for, what's the name of the dragon?
Cloud.
Clouth. They work for Clouth.
Okay.
Big, red, dominating dragon. Don't mess with him. And sworn enemy of the giants. We're trying to resolve this peacefully. We think they have other motives. And at the moment, they kind of align. But we're trying not to give them all the details of our plans.
Understood.
Brass and the crew have been awesome to us. They've accommodated us at every single turn, and they have not asked us any questions that weren't necessary. But the thing is that they work for this great red dragon. We've only ever met one great red dragon that was not a dictator to his minions, but that dragon was raised around people. As far as we know, Cloud was not, which is why we cannot get this thing out from under our skin about these cultists.
Understood. Don't tell the dragon worshippers or anybody.
Just to clarify that, as much as these dragon cultists have been treated us well and done good by us, I've had bad experiences with other cultists.
Of the same cult?
Of the same cult. So I'm not 100% on board with these guys. Brassic seems genuine at the moment, but that could turn. So.
Well, the enemy of my enemy is a friend, right? That's what they say. That's the conventional wisdom. Okay.
Do you have any questions?
So, blow the horn, talk to the giants, save the day. That's what I hear.
Yes, we could do this immediately, which is what Loic was saying. I presume Loic has an ulterior suggestion to have raised this hut to get some privacy.
That I do, my compatriots.
And presumably immediately, we would have some time to gather supplies and orient ourselves here. I don't think Loic means in the next 5 minutes, but rather we could prepare and leave here from Citadel Felbar.
Yep, that sounds reasonable. If we were to choose it right now, but right now meaning when we are ready.
So here's my plan. The alternative plan. I could study the conch, we go there immediately. Or we can take 2 days. And that is a great compromise, down from 10 days about the time of the time that I could be taking. And that is that we are atrociously under-equipped to go to this place that we're about to go to. I don't know the first thing about it, and I don't know whether or not you guys realize it, but we do use the information that I gather quite a lot. So I want to return to the host tower of the Arcane, and I want to learn as much as I can about this place in which I am going. We are going, and who to expect, and anything else about them, as well as some other stuff. And he pulls out a list, and it's just like falls onto the ground. The scroll falls on the ground. He's like written tons and tons and tons of notes about all throughout the journey of all these questions he has. And then he says, I happen to know that Harshnag is in Mirabar. So I was thinking, while I was in Luskan, you guys could go to Mirabar, or I could drop you off on the way via teleportation sigils. And you could confer with him one last time to see if there's anything else we're missing, because we did say that we were going to return to him before we went off and did all this stuff. So I just want to make sure that we have our asses covered. Is that...
So you say this would take 2 days, but we know Luskan is around 10 days from here, perhaps on ship. And you speak of teleporting us to Mirabar. It sounds like you are saying that we will no longer be using the ship. Is this what you are saying?
This is a moment in time where I have enough teleportation circles to get us around. We no longer need Brassic. So if we have this thing under our skin, then now might be a prime time to separate before we go to this place and before we get back from it. If we do get back from it. So I was just told by King Warren, this is the reason why I asked for the teleportation sigil to Mirabar. I got told of this Harper fella who's going to meet up with me at some point. If I can get him to give me the teleportation sigil to Mirabar, then we will all go there together. And then from there, I will teleport to Luskan. And then I will be in Luskan for 2 days, and then I will return to Mirabar, and then we teleport out.
I have no problem with this.
Just seems reasonable to gather information ahead of time.
Do you want to tell Brassic that we're parting ways, or are we just
I
going to
think
go?
I think we should, because we are on good standings presently. Yes, they may betray us at some point, but they haven't done it yet. We may be able to reach out and contact them later if we stay within a good reputation, a fairly decent reputation. And then we can contact them later and see how things are going with the beginning of the end of this next thing that Clouth keeps warning us about. Right now, he's our best ally.
We could resupply the ship and simply send them to Miramar to meet us there. And then if we need them, great, we have them. But if not, we can dismiss them from our services at that time.
Well, I kind of want to, like... Well, we could lose them in Mirabar, too, if you like.
My question is, like, this conch, it takes us there to wherever we're going. How do we get back?
Teleportation circles, cubic gate, you know.
The
usual.
Does the conch go both ways? Would it bring us back to the
I haven't
same
studied
place?
the conch yet. Don't ask me questions about the conch yet.
Okay.
I will let you know exactly how it works when I figure out how it works. That'll be done in Luskan as well. With
Maybe it's good that we're not blowing it right away then, if we're not sure if it's going to actually work for us like we want it to.
Right. Okay.
Sounds like a plan. So, what? We're going to send Brassic to Mirabar? That makes sense. If in case we can use it to come back to Mirabar, if we're going to go from Mirabar and it does have the ability to come back to the same place, then we may need to use the ship. We don't know where we're going to have to go after this.
Well, that's what I'm saying, is that a teleportation circle ought to get us pretty close to wherever we want to go at this point.
Have you got a teleportation circle for most of the north now?
Yeah, everything above Waterdeep I'd say is pretty good. I don't have Waterdeep yet, but it's easy to get to. Any teleportation circle I don't have can be purchased for 250 gold at Luskan.
Didn't we have to go to Waterdeep for some reason?
Yeah, there was something about a Ring of Winter as an artifact. I don't know if we need it anymore, though.
Oh, what else are we doing? Okay. Let's do it then.
Okay. I will hang out and wait for Gilrin. If anyone wants to hang out with me, that would be appreciated.
I had commissioned some platinum rings from a smith here in town. I wish to acquire them before we leave.
Okay. Someone's
By
got to go
now,
tell...
those rings would have been ready for you. You can go and collect them when you need. Sorry.
You're good. Someone's got to go tell Brassic, too, what the plan is. That's all.
Would you like me to?
Not me. I'll be busy.
Okay, so Loic, you head off to find and have this meeting that you had gotten the king to arrange with this Gelrin individual. The individual that you find is he's a dwarf, but the way that he's dressed, he seems oddly different from the rest of the dwarves in that he is favouring the intellectual side of life. Doesn't really look like he's into too much manual labour. Loves the way he looks and the way his clothes fit him. And he approaches you and I've been told you want access to Mirabar. The Harpers are willing to give it to you on condition that you sign a contract of employment with the Harpers.
They would want me.
You sign this contract, offer to do one task that we ask, we will give you the sigil.
I can't tell you whether or not I'm willing to do it unless I know the task.
We can't give you the sigil until you sign the contract.
I guess we are at an impasse.
And you're the one that needs the sigil.
Will any of my compatriots work for signing the contract, besides myself?
We'll take the half-bear.
Okay. Is the half-bear with me?
I don't think so.
Is anyone with me?
No, I think I am just going to go off of our tier, to be fair, in case the brass kicked off.
Okay.
He'll hand you the contract. Bring it back signed. We'll know whether or not it's signed by the correct person. Trust us on that. And when you bring it back signed...
If I were to pull something on you guys, it would be much more clever than a forged signature.
We figured. So, when you're willing to sign up, the Harpers will have you.
Okay. I'll go talk to my bear friend.
Okay. So meanwhile, Artir, Erin, you're heading, and probably Danwick and Gamel as well, probably heading back to the ship to talk to Brassic. Cool.
Jace.
You find him at the ship. He's getting everything ready, getting his people in, sorted. He sees you coming and he's like, "Are we off again?"
Not quite yet, my friend. We need to travel much quicker. We will be teleporting to Mirabar. We wish to rejoin you in Mirabar, having resupplied your ship with all it needs from here.
Okay.
But we need to travel faster than your ship can permit.
Let me see. I've been to Mirabar a couple times. It'll take me 4 days. No. 2.5 days if I fly straight there.
Very well. We will be there when you arrive.
You sure you don't need us to come with you? I mean, I can... my men can travel directly with you to Mirabar if you need assistance.
Is not necessary, and I would not deprive you of your men with dragons roaming the skies. Dragons who do not recognize the glory and sovereignty of Mighty Clouth.
Very well. How well do you know the city of Mirabar?
I know it very little.
Mirabar's a well-defended city. Bringing a skyship like ours into the city is going to be difficult.
Well, we will be there before you, and we will let our hosts know to lower their defenses or communicate with you via some other method, the correct approaching technique, so as to not be shot out of the sky.
Okay. We will arrive at Mirabar at dawn on the 3rd day. Look to the... we'll be flying from the east.
To the east.
If you are there to signal us will land. But please, bringing the ship into Mirabar by ourselves is going to be difficult. I don't want to put my men at risk.
Nor should you. We will be sure to communicate what is necessary to ensure the safety of your men.
Okay.
If you do not hear from us, simply maintain at a safe distance, and we will contact you.
He looks concerned. If that's
Is there
what
something else you're not telling us about that you're concerned about?
My mission is to help you until the giant problem is solved. Though I do not doubt you have probably stemmed the tide of the fire giant attacks by killing the Duke, there are other giants. I'm worried that that if I do not come with you and aid you in whatever manner you need, that I will fail in my duties. Should you fail, and I could have been with you to do something, I would have failed. That is all.
We will be looking for you in Mirabar. You will play a vital role in the things to come.
Okay. Okay. In Mirabar.
Jace.
Right. Let's go, men. Delphine, charge it up. Let's go. They start wrapping up and they start heading out towards Mirabar. It'll take them 3 days to get there, but they'll be there waiting for you. Well, not waiting for you, but they'll be expecting you.
Can Aaron insight check that whole conversation?
Of course you can. Go ahead and roll an insight check.
I was completely not entirely 100% honest. I don't know why you would want to incite me.
Not you. He's never trusted Brassic.
I wonder why.
Got attacked by an he's not
Can you roll one for
inside.
Gamel as well, please?
Yeah, I'm gonna
Sure.
go ahead and, as a neutral third-party observer, who's never been involved in these things, these big people things.
So, Brassic is kind of a closed-off individual anyway. This is the first time he's ever really shown any sort of emotion while discussing things with you. You don't really gain anything new. He seems completely honest in what his intentions were. Even Gamel, who was pretty sure he caught everything, didn't see anything additional.
Okay.
All right, my friends, I go to seek a smith who was preparing some rings for me. Will you accompany me, or will I meet you at the tavern?
Ooh, tavern. I think I'm gonna head on over there.
I will accompany you, as I need someone to help me figure out what is up with this bag that Loic found.
Loic had identified it in front of you, told you exactly how to use it. Basically, if you put a piece of ammunition, any type of ammunition, because you are able to create different kinds, into the smaller of the two pouches, it will constantly keep replenished a pack of 20 of all of them, plus they will be considered magical +1.
Having already heard that, then, Gamel's going to go buy a crap load of ingredients to make a whole bunch of fancy bullets.
Yep. Cool. So, Artir goes to speak to the smith. You had already paid for it, correct?
Jace?
So the rings are ready for you. He didn't make any sort of magical aspect to them. It was just simply the rings themselves, one of which has a carefully... what he did was he actually made sure that it looked a little hidden. There are folds in the metal, and there is a design over it that seems to blend towards one central image. And when you twist it just right, you see that it has the symbol of a shield on it. And that is one of them. The other one is completely clear, and not clear, but clean and smooth. No symbols on it whatsoever. So for the casual observer, one of them just looks like it's fancy designed. But you can tell that there's an intricate shield symbol built in.
This is very well done, Master Smith. Thank you for your service.
You're welcome. Anytime. So you grab that, you go. You guys have gone off to the inn. What else are you guys doing while you're in Citadel Felbar?
Well, Dandrick doesn't have much business, so I think he's just planning to take in the local stories and schmooze a bit at the inn, at the tavern, and be as bardy as he can, sing some songs with some drunk people, and enjoy his last night before going on a potentially the last adventure of his life.
That's where I'll be too after Gilrin, and if I get to see some of his performance, I'll be up there at the front of the stage clapping for him.
Yeah.
Trying to clap for him.
So,
would there be any presence of the Hunters Guild here?
not in Citadel Felbar. You know that the nearest Hunters Guild, the nearest guild hall for the Hunters Guild in this particular area is, it's actually just on the edge of the Moonwood itself, but it's within the woods. They have a lodge out there.
Okay.
It's not far.
is it?
You could easily get in touch with them if you needed to.
It's not. No, I think Aaron would be wanting to send a letter to his wife at this point, but he kind of doesn't trust common communication. He would want to use the Hunters Guild's network to get him. As there's no one local that he can't pass anything on to, he will just go to the pub and possibly write said letter over a drink with Danrick.
So Danrick, as a bard, first thing you do as soon as you enter any tavern, you pull out your instrument and you offer your services. And you start playing. You manage to earn your right to any food and drink that you guys need. Aaron's background would allow him free lodgings if needed. So together you kind of secure everything that you would care about.
Great.
Loic goes looking to find Aaron after having dealt with Gelrin. And it's not long before you hear about the performance of the halfling bard in the local inn. So you figure, I'll go look there instead. And sure enough, you find him performing his bagpipes while Aaron is sat down at a bar having a drink.
I will sit down next to Aaron and get myself a drink as well.
So Aaron's going to pour you. He's got a jug. He's going to pour you some and pass it over. Another cup. He expected the others to turn up, so he's brought a jug with more pitchers.
Right.
Casually, I'm going to be like, so, went to see that guy about Miravar.
Yeah? Did you get what you needed? Aaron's still trying to concentrate on his letter because he's fumbling how to explain himself to his wife why he hasn't come home yet.
Well, despite all that we have done for Felbar thus far, he wouldn't give it away for free. He is a part of the organization called the Harpers. I think I've mentioned them to you before.
Yeah, does Aaron know anything about the Harpers?
You know what most people do, which is that the Harpers, like most of the organizations within the world, it's difficult to get involved in one unless you know someone that is part of it.
Mm-hmm.
Once you know someone that's part of it, they will probably attempt to get you involved, but their actions are always considered a little questionable. They don't necessarily answer to any liege lords, any realms, they answer to their order above anything else. And as such, the fact that they have their hands in most major civilizations is always a little concerning. The Harpers generally considered fairly good, but they are also the kind of people that the ends justify the means. And as a result,
Silvery
causes some
Moon
problems.
freaking loves them, though.
So what's their general thing? What's their? Do I know what their general?
Well,
Go on.
well, to
I
explain
don't
it,
know. Aaron doesn't know, so I don't know, and Aaron doesn't know. So, go on.
to explain it simply, they have a hand in many large catastrophes as being like the last resort, so to speak. The Lady Silverhand herself, who lorded over and maintained Silvery Moon for its best days, best ages, she was a part of it. A high-ranking part of it.
Okay.
So this guy, Gilrin, part of the Harpers. No doubt they have heard of us, and they apparently have a task that they could use some help with, and they want you.
They want me.
They want you.
Over you, Loic.
Nope, they want you.
Inside check.
Go ahead and roll an insight check. And Loic, go ahead and roll a deception check.
I have advantage.
Yes, you do.
13.
You don't have an advantage on an insight check, though.
Ooh. It's hard to tell, though. It's hard to tell. You can't be sure.
Loic's hiding something. But generally speaking, Loic is almost always hiding something.
Loic.
So, yeah, the deal is that they'll give us the sigil if we do this task. I asked them to tell us what it is before we go agreeing to it, and they wouldn't, which is becoming more and more of this industry standard, it seems like. So they have this contract. It is a magical binding one, and this task that they have for us cannot possibly take much time, because I'm sure that they're aware of what's going on. And keeping us away from the task, the greater task, is hazardous to everybody's health. But, you know, have you talked to Brassic yet? Has anybody, are they still here?
No, I think
The ship's still here. We may not have a choice anymore.
I'm already part of an organisation, Loic. I don't
Better-
think they'd want. I don't think they'd be very happy for me to sign up to another one.
They don't want to keep you. They just want you to do this one thing. It's a one-time mission.
I'm not signing any magical contract that I don't know what I'm doing.
I know, right? That was, yeah. Who would?
You
Okay,
wouldn't.
So what's our alternative? I can get us to Luskin, but Luskin to Mirabar? I don't know. You guys want to hoof it?
Wouldn't they have the teleportation circle at Luskin?
Oh yeah, that's right.
Mirabar was one of the few places they didn't have.
Mirabar was one of the few places that they didn't have, turns out. Okay, so we really don't have a choice. Well, I apologize for getting you into this mess. It was poorly executed.
I don't know why they want me.
Well, you're very strong, obviously. You accomplish things with ease compared to everybody else. Even I'm very impressed by you, and I'm an impressive guy myself.
Okay, now you're just flattering me.
But roll a persuasion check. Let's see if it works.
What's my counter roll?
Insight check.
Oh,
It's growing on you. He's growing on you.
Look, I can dispel magic on magical contracts. As
I'm
long
not.
as
I'm not signing anything unless we know what it is. If we know what it is, We know what we've got to do. I might sign it.
Would you like to return to Gilrin and attempt to persuade him to tell us?
I'm surprised you did.
I tried.
But you're very persuasive.
No, I'm not.
Maybe we should all go and meet him.
Okay.
So,
Jace, I could be very persuasive.
yeah, that guy could be very persuasive.
Yeah, not me.
I'm just tootling around on my bagpipes while this is happening. But in a way that sounds like this guy's probably persuasive as well. He might be talkable.
So,
Let's go have
you're
a
all headed
conversation.
to Gelrin.
It doesn't seem like we're all about who forgets about the fear of the holes.
Way down the halls, back to where he is. Look, you see that Gelrin is exactly where you left him. Sat in the big armchair.
Aaron said wait till we got everybody together, so we'd want to go get Artir.
Artir's caught up by now.
Okay.
Everyone.
All right. I walk up to Gellerin and I put the contract on whatever surface is around. It's unsigned. We have really important work that we're doing right now. We can't rightly sign something that we don't know what we're signing. I mean, I understand it's a magical contract, so it's not a riskless thing to sign it. It's not like just legal action or something. This is soul stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So we're here, we're listening. You have our interest. You just need to nudge it over the edge and tell us a little bit about what you want us to do.
I want you, or you, and he points to both of you, Aaron and Loic.
Aaron's
I
gonna be
want
like, you could be signing this?
to sign a contract of employment for one task alone, that we can call your aid on whenever we need you. You will help with that one task. Once it's done, you're no longer involved in the employment whatsoever. Like, all done, forget it.
You think we're stupid?
Finished?
You wanna have us owing you a favor, just waiting in the hanging?
You want me to give you access to our teleportation.
Not yours,
Network.
Mirabar's. It doesn't have to be yours.
The
They've got their own.
Harpers have full control over the teleportation sigils within Mirabar. No one gets in and out of Mirabar through teleportation except by us.
Look, Gilrin, it's just too steep a price. A magical binding contract that's essentially blank. If you asked us to trade something, we would understand that. But you're just asking for way too much.
Roll a persuasion check.
Anybody want to help me? I can't ask for help.
I don't have it.
This will be kind of like a skill challenge in that over the course of the conversation, you all can pitch in and help out, and we'll see how it ends up. Right.
I can try, if this doesn't work, I can try casting suggestion to offer that we can, when we get where we need to go, we can look over the contract then. That we'll pull our part, or we'll make him pull his part, but then when we get there, then we'll look at the contract, then we'll decide if we'll sign it. Which, it's not directly
Okay.
unreasonable.
How about you don't give us access to the gate? Can you just teleport us to Mirabar?
Not a bad idea.
Roll a persuasion check, Aaron.
It's not what I think, guys.
You want entrance to Mirabar? I might be willing to teleport you there myself. so long as your wizard does not attempt to copy the teleportation sigils, and I will be watching very carefully.
You're clever.
I will do this. But for my services in teleporting all of you, I assume, to Mirabar. It'll cost you quite a bit. I will need you to give me about 500 gold pieces.
Sure.
500. I'm gonna talk him down. 500 is obscene.
Can I indicate a group huddle real quick? All right, my friends, would you like me to do the talking for you? I say I could be very persuasive. I do not know that having him transport us will get us what we need, since Loic is going to Luskan and he would have to meet us back in Mirabar. So getting him to transport us without relinquishing the sigil will not do us any good. Shall I take over negotiations?
Well, if Brassick's meeting us, we can. If Brassick's meeting us there, we can meet. We can meet Loic somewhere else.
What other locations do you have that are nearby?
Neverwinter. It's in between.
No, that is 10
it's
days
south.
from here. That is 10 days
Sorry.
from here. Which
No,
is
I was
farther from
thinking
here.
about from
What about the Harples? You had a teleportation circle for them, didn't you?
Long Saddle. It's still
That's 8 days from here. We wanted to be quick.
Luskan is the closest city to Mirabar, isn't it?
Yes. Mostly because travel along the Mirror River is quicker than anything else.
So why
And
is
the
it that we need to be in
150
Mirabar
journeys
instead of all going to Luskan?
Because Harshnag's in Mirabar. We're gonna hit him up for info.
Okay. Just that there's a river that goes from Mirabar to Luskan.
Mhm.
Okay. I've got a boat. We'll meet you there.
Well, how long would it take with the boat to go from Mirabar to Luskan?
Aaron's knowledge of land. Would you be able to estimate that?
For the duration of while you have crew manning the ship and keeping it running properly, you could probably travel twice the speed of normal along the river like that. So in an 8-hour stint, you could cover about 50 mile instead of the normal 24. The travel from Luskan to Mirabar is 150 mile.
It's 3 days.
So it's 3 days if you only move 8 hours a day. If you get someone else to kind of help out, take shifts and whatnot, you might be able to.
But we're waiting for Loic for 2 days. So basically, so if we get the information we need when Loic goes, we get the information we need and we head off straight away. We're a day out.
Well, we keep the people on the airship waiting though, and that might not behoove us.
Well, we can get Loic to send a message to Brassic.
Yeah.
Wait.
Meet us at Luskan. Change of plan.
No, we
We don't
Oh,
want
yeah,
that
yeah.
ship turning back up in Luskan. They know it. But outside of it,
Yeah.
stay in here. I'll let the host tower know. That way they can watch it.
Would you like me to talk to the Harper fellow or no?
I say yes. Let's go ahead and take a whack at it. Because worst thing that could happen is no deal. That's already happened. So go for it. if you don't
So
mind.
you all step out from your huddle and turn. He's right there. He's heard everything you're saying.
No, this was a secretive conversation, DM. How dared you?
Right.
Yeah, this
You
was
gotta
all in
tell me.
whispers.
You got to tell me that.
Well, when you do a huddle, it's presumed you're whispering.
Yeah, I
My
appreciate you guys huddling down to the halfling level too for that. Just, he sees it and he notices.
I kind of imagine Damrick is kind of in the middle of the huddle, just looking at us.
my friend.
Oh, and when you start, when you start doing this, I'm going to just start kind of whistling under my breath to give you a D8 to add on to your roll for some inspiration.
Thank you. My friend,
Some inspiration.
we know of your organization. We know you do very fine things. We want to work for your organization. We would be happy. You would make us very happy. Just merely extending the invitation was quite an honor. But we really want to work for you. The thing is, the people do you want, their services are in very high demand. This is not an easy ask that you make. If you wish their services, they have a very, very, very low bar for you to cross, and that is merely to tell them the task you wish for them to perform. It seems very reasonable to me. If you want them, we want to work for you. It's a win-win. All you have to do is tell us the thing you want them to do.
Roll a persuasion check.
Ooh.
Oh.
Plus a D8 for inspiration.
If you wish to
want.
use the
If you wish to.
inspiration dice.
It's there for you though.
So it's a 23.
All right. 1 second. So, he reaches into a pocket, pulls out a piece of paper that you immediately can tell from just the way the ink seeps through it, there is some form of circular symbols within it. This is probably the sigil itself. Alright. I'll give you the sigil. If you sign the contract to agree to do the task. The task simply involves... We need someone to get inside Waterdeep. In particular, there's a person we need. We need this individual to meet us just outside of Waterdeep. And all attempts that we have to acquire such an individual have come up short.
This guy's named Roaring Horn by any chance? Just curious.
No, but the fact that you know that name is intriguing.
I was in Gauntlegrim for the meet regarding demons, so is he.
The Roaring Horn was one of the last individuals to attempt contact with this individual in Waterdeep. And he failed to do so. So we need
You're
some
looking for
help.
Artist Simber. He was the one that the priest from Bryn Shander told us that Roaring Horn was looking for him. Okay, so you're
Very well.
wanting us to find artists.
Find artists. Get him out of the city. We have people in Red Larch that would like to speak with him.
So, I am still handling negotiations, my friends. I was just... So, we know the task has been completed when Artis is outside of the city, or when we go to the city and we discover he is not there? Or if he is not there, how can we complete the task? If he is not there, or if he's there and he's dead, or if he's unwilling,
Sorry, Aaron.
what did you need us to do?
As a player, I didn't catch who we're taking.
So he wants you to go to Waterdeep and find an individual in Waterdeep by the name of Artus Simba.
Okay.
He mentions that he has people in Red Larch that would like to meet him and speak with him. So he says that the contract will be complete upon one of two conditions. One, you bring Artus Simba to Red Larch. Or two, you bring something of his to Red Larch to indicate his death. Usually some bit of jewelry. I know he has a family signet ring that that is kind of an heirloom for him, and that would be enough to prove that Artus is no longer with us. If you can bring that ring or him to Red Larch, then your contract will be completed.
When Gilrin says family ring, I'm going to actually be standing behind him doing air quotes with my two tentacle tips doing the air quotes too.
My friend, you have spoken to two possibilities, but there is a third possibility that this man is not in Waterdeep. How can we accept this contract if we do not know for sure he is there? We would be forever in your service if we could not meet either of these conditions.
Your wizard friend and your half-bear friend ventured into a land reasonably uncharted, found a library that doesn't exist, that cannot be found. I think you can find this man.
So now you are asking us to use more resources. This changes the terms of the contract completely. Perhaps you should be paying us.
This really is kind of like a 2,000 gold gig you're asking us to do.
Yes, maybe we could attach a rider to the contract that if we are not able to find this artist Simba in Waterdeep, that perhaps, and we need to utilize greater resources, that maybe we will be compensated additionally.
How do I know you're actually going to put some effort into finding him? You can just arrive in the city and say, oops, he's not here.
Well, it's a magical contract, shouldn't it? The magic would know. I mean, if the magic is binding on us on whether or not we're going to complete the contract, and there has to be something in that contract that knows whether or not we actually complete the contract.
Yeah, you can at least trust that we won't want to stay under contract.
Jesse.
Very well. You sign the contract. I will give you the sigil to Mirabar. You bring the ring to, or Artus, of course, just like Artus, to Red Larch. I will pay you 2,000 gold pieces. Should you sign the contract and not find Artus, not even attempt in any way to find Artus, you will find yourselves in a dire situation.
And does this have a time limit on it?
No time limit.
Okay.
Though I would just say that if our people find him before you do, we will be quite displeased in your contract.
Well, you do understand that we are currently tending to some very important business, so that has to come first. And I think that your organization would understand.
You understand it? We have a vested interest in your success on this matter. So do we have a deal? Which of you will sign?
Aaron, I know you want to. I'll do this for you.
Thanks.
Okay. Loic, you sign the page And the moment you finish writing your signature, which I must ask, do you write your own signature?
Yeah,
do you-
it's my right hand.
okay.
I'm right-handed.
So you create your own signature, you write it down the moment you finish, and the quill comes off the parchment. The parchment immediately starts to dissolve and disappear, and in its place is a square 5-inch by 5-inch piece of paper with a sigil written on it. There you go. The deal is struck. The sigil is yours.
Thank you, Gilbert. And I'm sorry for the hoops and ladders that we had to go through in order to make this deal, but you understand how wary we have to be. It's all necessary.
I understand you people are persuasive, but necessary. And if you ever find yourselves in need of help, we would gladly take you as part of one of ours.
Sure you would.
So, you've got the parchment, you've got the sigil, you then leave Gelrin's room.
Turn around to Aaron and go, I am now beholden to 2 organizations.
What was he
Magically.
talking about? He was talking about a library. I don't understand what he referenced there.
There is a legendary library that exists on an alternative plane, like a demi-pocket plane, not an existing one. It's been around for gods know how long, and you can only find it if the owner wants you to find it, and we found it.
Yeah, it's another reason why me and Loic look a lot younger than we actually are.
And here I thought it was just good skincare.
I thought it because they are elves. They're elves. They're very, you know.
What? Finish your sentence.
You know. I don't have to finish my sentence.
All elves age the same. Okay,
It's a good thing, I'm sure.
So
so
that's it
fine.
then? We're off? Does anyone want anything before we leave?
Let's go.
Maybe a respite from the game.
Yeah, let's take a 15-minute break. We'll
Are you,
tune
doing,
in.
are you doing the circle, and we're gonna pop up in wherever? Yeah.
Be back in 15 minutes.
lights.
It was in
Luskin. Was it
It's in
Luskin?
Luskin. Yeah, let's go to Luskin and see what this halfling's got. Let's throw in a fight. Let's throw in
No,
a
he's not
pit
very strong,
fight.
but he's scrappy.
All right, we're live again, and I am going to be monkeying with the screen.
Okay. Welcome back, everyone. For the next couple of minutes, just going to be working on the camera. So, the party, having gone to Citadel Felbar, had managed to get rewarded for their services. They traded in the heads for some golden lions. They shooed away Brassic and his flying ship and the dragon cultists, relying on the hope that they could secure the teleportation sigil for Mirabar. After some tense negotiation and an agreement to sign a contract of employment to do a task down in Waterdeep, the party managed to get that sigil. Loic spent some time learning it, describing it, putting it to memory, and is now capable of casting the teleportation sigil to Mirabar. So, immediately kicks straight into work, finding a quiet corner, starts drawing out the arcane sigils with his hands. And for those that haven't seen teleportation circle spell working before, it's an intricate drawing that as Loic is running his fingers along the ground begins to light up with blue, bright energy everywhere that his fingers traced, and eventually traces this very designed image. And in fact, I believe you actually have an image of what it looks like. Nope, not to hand. Okay, never mind. So, after the sigils are finished, they flare up with a brilliant shine that's almost blinding, and then the world just sort of splits open for a second, and this black hole is created in midair, suspended above the circle. You all step through and find yourselves stepping into a well-lit, white stoned room. It's a very spherical room. The portal closes immediately behind the last of you, and you find yourselves alone in this circular room.
Welcome back to the West Coast, ladies and gentlemen.
Mm-hmm.
Gentlemen.
You have a huge wooden door to the left of you all, and a moment after Loic welcomes you all in, the doors fling open as a old woman is stood there in front of you, kind of hunched over. Welcome, new people. Come on through. Let's get through the processing and you'll be on your way. Come on. Hurries you off and pulls out a big ream of paper. Right, here. Alright. Where did you come from?
Felbar. Citadel Felbar.
Felbar. Felbar. Gelrin. He's been giving away the sigil again, hasn't he?
Not giving. No, it was a fair trade. He's getting something in return.
Okay. Alright. Well, the Harpers are at your service. Should you need us, exit is on your right. Don't tell anyone we're up here, or we'll kill you.
Of course.
Yeah. Okay.
You can try.
Don't tempt her. She's got arcane energy pouring off of her. It's crazy.
So, you walk out of this room, this tower. As you step into this main room proper, it's a large area, and you can see that there are more doors that lead off into probably similar rooms than where you had just teleported in. And there is a spiral staircase that just leads down metal staircase. When it comes out through a door, you find yourself stepping out from behind a rock, and you look back and the tower's not there. Very secreted, very hidden away. You figure you could find this rock and make your way back in if you needed to be able to gain access, because you know this particular location. But from the outside, that tower does not exist. It doesn't appear to exist, and you see the city of Mirabar in front of you. Now, Mirabar is a huge city. A couple of you have been there. It is the richest city by far within the north, and so you just see the place is busy. It's about midday here when you do this, and the streets are busy. There's marketplaces everywhere, and people are doing all kinds of commerce all over the place. What would you like to do?
I'm going to cast a sending spell and throw it out to Harshnag. Tell him, we're here. Where are you?
Bah. Oh. Hey. He tells you that he is in a tavern just on the inside of the walls. The words he says, because he's only got 25 words or less. Once drunk, twice shy, tavern.
Everybody else just hears Loic say, how's that physically possible?
Well,
Okay. He's in the once drunk, twice something tavern.
Yeah,
Right,
you start
Aaron-
making your way through. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Does Aaron know where this? What? Aaron has obviously travelled a lot in the north. Does he know this particular pub? Would it be an establishment that he might have frequented?
Roll a history check.
Yeah, I'm actually
Yes,
curious
see
the
what
same about Danrik, just since he's traveled around on his various pirate ships.
Nope.
He's familiar with this area as well.
Same again with Danrik. History check, please.
I've always failed history checks.
Always. Well, you've got a 0 on your modifier. But Danrik, you remember that... so the city of Mirabar is basically a giant fortress. It is huge. The walls are high. It's an impenetrable place. And it's a pretty daunting place to be within. But there is one location, one tavern on the edge of the city that everyone who's not your average rich, high-to-do citizen of Mirabar tends to hang out. And there's a bit of separation between the town and this tavern in particular. It's still within the protected walls of the fortress, so it's still a safe place. But the main city kind of keep themselves separated because this is where trouble happens, if it happens inside of the city. And so you figure this Harshnag fellow is probably an interesting fellow if he's in the tavern. You don't quite understand why Loic is so intrigued at the fact that this individual is in the tavern, because you don't know that he's a giant.
I did not know he was a giant.
Because Aaron, all right, Aaron not knowing what the size of the establishment is probably on the same, thinking the same things as like going, what, has he got a barn outside? Where is he?
Yeah, does anyone know the direction of that place? Where that place might be?
Danrik shows you the way to go.
They follow me, and
You pass by some of the more busier marketplaces, lots of smithing areas, lots of enchantment schools, lots of places to keep you guys busy if you needed to in the town. And you break out, and the moment you step out of the major part of the city and cross this, it almost looks like there is a huge trench that's been cut out of the ground that sort of semicircles the tavern up against the fortress wall. And so it's a pretty big separation between the main area, but you follow the path along, and sure enough, sat outside the tavern up against the wall with with his axe in hand, is Harshnag, the frost giant. Danrik, you see a frost giant who is possibly 10 to 15 times your size.
Right. Would Danrik recognize him as a frost giant?
Pretty obvious that he's a frost giant in terms of his size, his shape, the color of his skin.
And that is just cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to say, well, I used to see you there, man.
You all, like, Artir doesn't know him. Gamel, Erin, and Loic, you do know Artir, and you immediately notice that he is not wearing his skull helmet. It's not there anymore.
I approach and I look up and I'm like, so, heard about the big skirmish up in the spine of the world. I'm so glad to see that you came out mostly in one piece, I presume?
Luckily for me, Imrith was not interested in me at all. I attacked. I did everything I could. Didn't touch her. Didn't even put a dent in her scales. She tore down the place.
Yeah. She's an ancient. What's the damage? Like, do you think that if many people dug through, do you think that the door would still be there?
He looks quite sad. A little tear starts welling up in his eye. The first thing she did was she destroyed the statue of Anam. When that fell, the whole place just began to shake and shudder. All of the glyphs on that portal at once lit up and then exploded.
She severed the connection. Well,
I don't think there's ever a chance.
oh, don't say ever. That's not a word in my vocabulary. Which plane do your gods reside on? Eastgard?
That sounds about right. I don't know if I have that.
Well, I happen to know that Oceanus connects to all of the higher planes, so perhaps there would be a way for us to reestablish the Oracle. Not now, obviously. We're busy.
You little folks seem to be able to do a lot. I'll be impressed if you manage to do that.
Well, I'm just saying there's hope out there, and there's a way to do it.
But that all aside, did you get the conch?
Be impressed.
Sorry, what was that? Oh, sorry. Did you get the conch? Okay, cool. Right, well, blow on it. Let's go.
First, okay. I have to go back to Luskin. We're going to be departing in 2 days. My fellows are going to stay here with you and try to sponge your brain of everything that you know about the court. I'm not even sure if we were ever given a proper name for it or anything of the sort. Like, is this a city we're going
King
to?
Hekaton's court, I believe.
Yeah, that's all we know.
Okay, I don't know much about Maelstrom. That's the place, Maelstrom. I can give you some details, but what do you need 2 days for? You've got the conch.
For preparation to absorb information and all the knowledge that we will be using when we get there. We are way out of our element. We don't want to go in there as
Some of our
vulnerable.
equipment needs to be fixed before we are ready to go.
That too. We just want to make sure that we succeed. So we're preparing.
We've recently just walked into a place unprepared and we got our asses kicked. We
But
don't
you're
wanna do it
alive.
again.
And you brought a little one as a friend.
Mm-hmm.
He's a
Danrik!
friend, right? He's not a pet.
Danrik Harshnag. Harshnag Danrik.
Hey, little fella.
Also, Artir. Harshnag, Artir.
Yeah.
Well,
Hey.
frankly, I've never met a frost giant before, and I'm just excited to get to know you. I've never met a person that's as big as you before. What? What's...
Greetings, little one.
Hello. I can play a song for you. I've got this fiddle.
All right. You need 2 days to prepare. Okay, I can give you 2 days. What do you want to know? Like, tell me what you need and I'll give you what I have. I don't know much about Maelstrom itself. I know that that's where the court is held. But much more about
Where
that. I've never
is
actually
it?
been there myself.
So geographically, where is it? Because I know some storm giant cities are in the sky.
If you set out from Luskan on a ship, head west. Actually, no. Rather, if you head out from Waterdeep, head west. About 500 miles. You'll come to a huge whirlpool in the sea. It'll destroy your ship. Probably kill you. As it tears you apart and pulls you down to the bottom of the ocean. But there, about 10,000 miles. No, leagues, sorry. No, not miles, because that's ridiculous. At the bottom of the ocean is Maelstrom.
See, that's relevant information right there.
Yep. Basically,
do
there's no way you could survive traveling there by foot.
Do you have any idea of once you get there, you need to be able to breathe underwater?
Oh, no, you're fine. There are some areas that you can only really traverse through water, but King Hecaton had little folk in there all the time. You're fine. Breathing underwater wouldn't even help you. The pressure of the water at that point kill you like that.
So, well, how do we leave there? Getting there doesn't seem like we're going to have as much trouble as getting out of there.
From everything I know, blow on the conch. It'll teleport you and anyone you want with you that's around you to Maelstrom. When you leave, I believe they have their own method of teleportation. It's said they can drop you off wherever you want.
Cool.
What can you tell us of the family of this king?
Well, King Hecaton had 3 daughters.
This is
Cyrissa.
Artea, by the way.
I know. Gamel pointed him out to me. Thanks, by the way. Hecaton has 3 daughters. Cyrissa, Mirren, and Nim. Cyrissa is the youngest of the 3, but I believe word is that Cyrissa, according to the Oracle, is actually sitting on the throne.
So, Cyrissa, what was it?
Cyrissa, Mirran, and Nim.
So, who's the eldest?
Mirran is the eldest of the 3. Quite the temper on that one.
What?
Are their whereabouts known? You're muted.
Ah, there we go. As far as I know, they're in Maelstrom too. I believe embassies from the giants are at the court waiting to hear Cyrus's plans to fix the ordning. So they'll be there.
You said Mirren had a temper. What were the others like?
Nim. Typical middle child. Impetuous. Does whatever she wants on a whim. Blames the rest of her sisters.
Sarissa?
She's got a good head on her shoulders. She takes after her mother. Blessed may she be. She, kind spirit. There's a reason Hecaton named her as the heir over her sisters.
And Miranda and Nim didn't have a problem with that?
Of course they had problems, but who says no to King Hecaton?
Now that King Hecaton's not there, how's that going on?
I have no way of getting to Maelstrom or hearing anything from it, as far as I know. Which is why I think leaving as soon as possible is important. Are you sure you need 2 days?
Yeah. One of the spells that, well, beyond the research that I'm about to do, one of the spells I'll be picking up is a universal translator for multiple people at a time, so that'll be useful. Things like that. 2 days isn't much time. It could have been 10 days. I bumped it down, knowing the rush we were in.
Can I help you all prepare?
You might actually be able to. I'm going to take her an hour-long rest, and when I'm done with that, I'll be heading off to Luskan to initiate what I'm going to do. So you guys do your thing. Does anybody want to come with me? You won't be allowed into the host tower, probably, but free teleport.
Well, we'll need accommodations here in Mirambar, and if you've been here for a while, maybe you can help us find a place to settle down so we can all prepare and hone ourselves for the coming travel and battle.
Did Joel Axel want... Did we need to go back to Joel Axel after we sorted our issues out in Portal Grim?
I'll take care of that.
Okay.
Okay. Well, Anam speed.
Thank you.
Very well. Harshnag then introduces you to the proprietor of the tavern that's there. A interesting looking fellow. Small, like halfling size, but he's half orc.
Half orc, half halfling.
Halfling hawk.
Half halfling. Oh.
Yeah. Interesting little fellow. Quite a happy, chipper individual. Invites you in. Happy to have interesting people. He offers to give you food and drink if you share a story. Like if you have an interesting tale to tell, he'll take you in and help you.
Have I got tons of interesting tales that I can regale him until the sun rises?
And he'll keep the ale coming for as long as you can keep telling him these stories.
Great. I will gladly keep him entertained with stories of sea monsters and beautiful women at the shores of foreign ports and other things that he'll make up as he goes along.
Fair enough. And then Loic, you spend an hour and then you bamf off to Luskan. You arrive in Luskan in the near the quarter where the pirate kings are kept. You pop out into the street there. Seemingly, the city is as it was, still as dirty and busy as it ever was. Did anyone go with him?
Nope.
No. Okay.
No one wanted to get in a bar fight? I thought I heard that for sure.
So, first
Plenty
thing,
of bars in Miramar.
Mm-hmm.
In the name.
First thing I'm going to do is seek out Jarlaxle.
Okay. You head to the inn that he had met you all, and first thing you notice, the inn doesn't exist anymore. The building itself isn't there anymore.
Makes sense.
The building has gone. But sure enough, after a bit of searching, a familiar-looking drow approaches, wearing his wide-brimmed hat and his eye patch. And he approaches. Well, welcome back, friends. Just you alone?
Just me alone.
Perfect. What fun can we have without those little fellows keeping
I
you back?
regret to inform you that I am on a business trip, so I can't have too much fun. But I did come to give you the result of the trip. So if you could lead me to someplace a little more private.
If you're talking about mutual friends in Gauntlgrim, I know they're all fine.
You know about the Drow family that's to the far east? You do?
Yep. I appreciate you rooting them out. Once you were there, my birds, my people managed to get the information that you needed. So thank you.
No problem. What else? The fire giants are gone. They've headed back towards the east. I think that's it.
Interesting. Oh. So what brings you back? I'm sure you didn't want to just give me information. What brings you back to Luskin?
Like I said, business. Hitting up the host tower. Gonna use some of those resources, and then I'm going to be studying up on the next leg of the journey. How are things going so far here? Have you guys seen any dragons?
No dragons. Should we be looking out for dragons?
Yes, actually. There's a blue that we... Did you know about the blue? You do know about the blue. We heard that you know about the blue.
He tries to look a little surprised. Yes, I know about the blue.
Give him a nudge like, you... yeah, by the way, my Lady Lael, she interrogated one of the assassins. One of the poor, pitiful assassins. Turns out you did know about the contract, but, you know, I said, it doesn't matter whether or not he knows about the contract. You know, you're a neutral party.
I've already had to deal with Lael. She was not happy when I visited her.
What'd you do? What happened? You didn't do anything,
I just wanted to see how her and her family were doing.
Okay. I believe you.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'll probably be putting up my feet in the host tower because I don't intend to sleep while I'm here. So I just wanted to make sure that you had all the information. Watch the skies. Imrith is all about the chaos and destruction right now. She's trying to stop anyone from getting any kind of footholds for this future thing that's coming up that's prophesized. Gods only know what the extent of that will be, but I have a feeling it's going to be worse than the giants.
Fair enough. Word of warning for you. Friend to friend. Yopesh waited for you. Wasn't happy you didn't come back.
What do you mean waited for me?
He needed something from Dis, and
I didn't say I'd be right back. He knows. Okay, I'll take it up with him. Thank you.
He went, got the thing. His temper's changed a little bit, so keep an eye out for him.
Okay, thank you for the heads up.
You're welcome.
All right, that's it.
So you step away. You find the host tower of the arcane, just as it was, as always is, and your simple touch to the door, it opens for you, and you're in there. You look around the room. It's the tower. It's fairly empty, fairly straightforward. Not much to it. What are you doing in the host tower?
I'm getting to work immediately. I'm a member. I am allowed, so I will go straight to the scrolls and get my magic ink out and proceed to do this thing. When exhaustion happens, do you have to? Does it all? Do the levels of exhaustion come back after one long rest, or do you have to do 2 long rests in order to clear 2 levels of exhaustion?
1 long rest per level of exhaustion. Okay. Roll me a perception check as you're up there in the scrolls and studying. Okay. First thing you notice while you're studying, you're looking, you catch your eye on the magical cabinet. There are 2 of the objects that you saw last time that are missing. They've been traded out by various different bits of weaponry and whatnot. Any guesses as to which 2 items are no longer in that cabinet?
I'm gonna guess it's the hand and eye of Vecna.
They appear to be missing.
That's spooky.
Someone
A
has
shudder
traded
runs
for
down
them.
Loic's spine.
Yep.
Knowing that those are out in the world now.
So you spend your time. What is it you're actually trying to do in there? As the DM, I'm not quite sure.
Got an Excel spreadsheet here.
Okay. All right.
Okay,
Just give me a quick rundown.
It's 4 spells that I'm picking up.
Mm-hmm.
Total hours spent to write them all down is 30 hours. Which is why I'm not sleeping.
Okay.
So I've got 48 hours to work with. That's 30. And then it's going to cost a total of 750 gold. And then I will be spending 10 hours on non-stop research with 8 hours in between for 1 sleep.
Okay. So you work through the first day, 24 hours go by, you get 1 level of exhaustion. You then spend another, how many hours? 8 hours continuing to work? Right?
8 hours of sleep, 10 hours research.
Right. Yes. Okay. Cool. So you do sleep. You're not exhausted, right?
Right.
Yeah. So that works out. What are you trying to research aside from those? So you've got those spells. You've learned those spells. What are you trying to research?
Okay. We already, let's see. I'm looking for information on Maelstrom.
Okay.
See if I can learn anything extra from that. Like what kind of people are there, if there are any factions, and what their names are.
Okay. So
names that might be there.
roll an investigation check. Okay. You do get a bit more information about Maelstrom. The main inhabitants of Maelstrom are the Storm Giants. In fact, that's the only place in the world that the Storm Giants actually live in. There aren't that many of them, to be honest. The ruling family are there, and then little offshoots keep in places. But the main actual chambers of Maelstrom are right in the center, at the heart of the whirlpool, at the base of it, is where they keep their court. It gives you the brief rundown of the family: King Hecaton, Queen. I know her name. Right here. Queen Nera? Yeah. King Hecaton, Queen Nera, Sarissa, Miran, and Nim. That's the family. You do hear some information, a bit more information about the throne of Maelstrom. It is known as the Worm Skull Throne. In terms of thrones, this is probably the greatest throne anyone has ever known of, in that it itself is a magical artifact crafted from the skulls of 4 ancient dragons. While the bearer of the crown, effectively, sits upon the throne. They are nigh invincible.
Good to know. Writing that down.
Mhm.
What's up with the magic that keeps Maelstrom separate from the sea? What kind of membrane is?
It's
Is it just a giant shield?
it seems like a very almost like a giant shell that has been built up, and it's built up over time, such that it's nice and thick and strong. It's able to keep all of the pressure out, whilst also allowing people to freely breathe in it. Oxygen is ventilated into it quite easily through the. They've managed to ventilate the oxygen through the whirlpool, through the center of it.
So it's natural.
So it is natural.
Huh. Cool.
The whole place is dug out of natural formations. And in fact, some of the rooms, the windows have been created out of thick, transparent crystals that are strong enough to be able to withstand the pressure.
Awesome. Those could get harvested, maybe. Okay. The other things that I was interested in is the ordning. Like, what the heck is it? I heard that there was like a physical manifestation of it. Or something.
Roll an investigation check on the ordning. Okay. You're not able to get too much out of it. It's just that the physical manifestation of the ordning is only ever in Anam, the Allfather's presence. And you know through your experience that it was destroyed. The ordning appears to be a magical item that grants power to individuals and controls power.
Okay.
So it's probably that's how they've managed to keep the order.
All right. Next up is Clouth and the Dragon Cultists.
Okay. Investigation check on Clouth.
Hey, nice.
What would you like to know about Clouth?
I want to know his habits. What kind of a ruler is he? How long has he been there? Who's seen him and lived to tell the tale?
You go to you look through all the sections about the dragon lords and the dragon kings and whatnot, and repeatedly there are mentions of a great dragon. Once or twice it actually names him as Clouth. It gives information that seems to suggest that Clouth, through sheer age and power, has managed to rise almost to the godlike status within the things. And there are a couple references to him being the chief lieutenant of Tiamat herself.
Oh, snap. Okay, thanks. So I can assume that the way that he got there is probably not through hugs and kisses and love and benevolence.
Probably not.
Okay. All right, so what about the dragon cultists? They've been around... Oh, no, wait. That's fine. I don't need to know about them because I know about Clouth. But where is Clouth? Where is his lair?
Where is he? The only information you have is within the Clouth and Vale, which is the same area as the Icespire Mountains. You're not... Like, there is no information about where.
Okay. And then last but not least... Soul gems in practice.
Okay.
I wanted to know about how they are designated by worth. How does one know if it is a worthy soul or a meager soul?
Okay. So in terms of actually the trading of souls,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Get a intuitive understanding of the currency system.
So another investigation check. Okay. The one thing that you keep getting referred to when you look about the information about the worth of souls is it's not the soul gem itself, But the soul gem is easily able to help a person who trades in them be able to detect the worth of that soul to the person that's selling it. The greater the worth of that soul to the person who's selling it, the greater the worth of that soul.
So there's no physical indicators?
No physical indicators.
You just gotta try your luck. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Alrighty.
Yep.
That's it. My 2
Okay.
days. Oh
You
yes, and I
spend-
can't forget to send a spell of sending to Brassic telling him that plans have changed. Right? That's...
What change has happened?
They're no longer going to Mirror Bar because everybody's gonna come meet me in Luskin, I think. Right? No, we got the teleports. Never mind. We're back
Yeah,
to
you
square
got
one.
the teleportation.
Okay. Back to
Okay.
10A. Thank you.
Cool. So during those 2 days, is anyone else doing anything else?
How many days away am I from finishing this armor set?
Let's find out. So you spend another 2 days working on it.
Which for Gamel counts as 4 days.
Yep.
Aaron will assist.
Aaron will assist, so it counts as double. Let me grab your token and run this. Well, it won't count as double because Aaron can only help you for half the time.
Right. So it counts as an extra 50%. 150% of what I could do.
Yep. So you now have 48 out of 60 days. You're
After
almost done.
after 2 days of work on it?
Yes.
Or are you saying I'm 12 days away and with 2 more days? Yeah,
No.
you ran and I'm 12 short.
You're 12 short at the end of these 2 days.
In that 2-day period, could I hire some people to do some finishing touches to just get this done?
Yes, you can. They won't be able to do the extra doubles and whatnot. So if you want the extra 12 days done in 2 days' time, you'll need to hire 6 individuals
Sure.
to work on it. Each of those individuals are going to charge you 150 gold per day. So 300 gold for the 2 days, 6 of them, 1,800. No, do you need? No, you need. Yeah, so 1,800 gold.
Okay, let's math this one more time. So it's
Could Danric use his persuasion skills to talk them down to a lower rate?
Of course you can.
see if you can talk him down to 1,382.
I mean, if we're talking them down, we're gonna aim for something big before we settle for.
So before you roll the persuasion check, I need you to haggle with me. Give me a price.
Yeah. Before I do that, I'm just curious. As a party, what do we think is a good rate to get for this? Below that, so I can have a.
Well, they're working with Gamal Ironsmith. They're working with a master journeyman crafter. They should pay me to watch me work and give them a master class.
It's true. They might not believe that though. But no, like what's
Aaron's going to be like, yeah, that's exactly why I'm doing it for free. It's so, I'm learning so much.
This man is a master hunter who wants to improve his skills, so he's working with me for free. And I'm only here for 2 days, so I'm giving you a deal. The fact I'm paying you at all is like a boon. I'll write you all letters of recommendation.
So then I guess we'll try to get. I'll negotiate. What was the hour or the daily rate that each one was? 180, you said?
So 150 each.
150 per day, and there's 6 of them, so it's right. So, well, given that you're
technically, if
hold on,
as a smith, and working, I only get 5 gold a day, generally.
Why you gotta haggle? Why you gotta haggle?
Aaron knows that he only gets about 5 gold a day for normal work.
So, look.
And Gamel's doing the tricky stuff. I just need you guys to finish off this adamantium bar inlay. Like an apprentice could do that. Come on.
Yeah, this is going to be
negotiator.
I appreciate the input. So to say, like, look, you guys are working with one of the best smiths that you'll ever see, with some of the highest quality metal that's been around this great, great world that we live in. It's an experience, and putting a gold price on that is just absurd. Now, I know that the kind of work that you do every day brings in money, and you have to support your families. And so we're willing to still pay you well for your services. How about 50 gold pieces a day?
50 gold pieces a day cuts this price in half, in a third, so it would be 600 in total. Roll a persuasion check.
Alright.
Oh, yes. Are you sure you don't want to make it? Are you sure you don't want to make it 20 gold a day?
Well, I already set my price.
They
so-
slap your hand. 600 it is. We'll do it. If Gamel Ironsmith is so great from what you say, we'll do it.
Great. You won't be disappointed.
Hmm. So it'll cost you 600 gold, and you will have that armor finished at the end of the 2 days.
Great.
And I give the halfling 10 gold and say, "Go get
Oh,
drunk."
shucks.
Best guy ever.
Oh, please, I sing. I don't need the gold to get alcohol. He just
Very well.
pumping me filled with it. But, well, Danrick wants to spend time. Some of it, if there's like a bard college nearby, just to kind of, absorb some of the local stories and chat up some of the bards from the area. But he also wants to know and look for a temple to Selyun, because that's the goddess that he is a cleric to. So he can make offerings and do his duties as a devout follower of this goddess, which would probably be at nighttime, because I know she's a moon goddess, but to do his part there as well.
You'll definitely be able to find a shrine to her. The religious quarter of Mirabar is very beautiful, and they outside a bunch of chapels, like a lot of chapels, they have statues to most of the good aligned deities, and so you're able to easily find this wonderful depiction of your deity, and leading behind her is this enormous chapel that, because she is a moon goddess, the ceiling is actually completely clear. Ooh. And it's made out of glass. And so you enter in at night waiting for the ceremonies, and you can see that they are performing the usual rites and prayers under the starry sky, and the moon shines through the glass in such a way that it creates a picture over the altar system that almost looks like two enormous hands are lifting up the priest that stands on the altar. That's the temple that you see.
Oh, good. And if they're singing any songs as part of it, he will also lend his voice to the choir and hopefully inspire the devout to have a good few days of worship with the tidings of Selyun guiding them.
And you do that. You have a wonderful time. They offer to help you with any clerical supplies you may need, replenish anything you happen to be low on for you, and it's all as normal, but I'm pretty sure you had everything you needed.
Yeah.
Gamel, when you finish your armor, you were using the black scales, right?
Yes.
Okay. So in the end, this is a set of plate armor with immunity to acid damage.
Oh, immunity, not just resistance?
Immunity to acid damage.
Sweet.
Nothing else, but just acid damage.
Now it is. It's also +2 adamantine plate armor.
Yes, it is.
So.
Took him a long time to build it, which finally did.
Fancy.
Does that make it light then as well?
Adamantine.
No, it's still.
It's just. It's a non-magical excuse for it to be a +2. That's all.
It also does critical hits are normal hits against me.
Ooh.
So
Well, that's a neat thing.
So, that's everyone's tasks.
Well, we wish to inform the authorities that there is an incoming flying sheep. So we maybe
Sure.
ask Harshnag to help us with this task.
He lets you know that they don't quite like him walking into the major part of the city. As he was last in the city, he made the trench by accident. It was a long time ago, and they were having a wonderful time. His group had just finished slaying a group of worms that were north of here, and they happened to bring one of the worms with them, and it made a mess. So he's not allowed into the city proper, but he is allowed into the city because he helped save them. So he does direct you to the city watch, who will, after listening to your story, you persuade them a little bit. They tell you to make sure that the airship doesn't land inside the walls, otherwise the fortress will fire upon it. And they can park outside the city walls, but not inside.
They know that.
So how are you going to send a message to Brassic informing him of such?
We'll wait for Light to return until get Light to tell him.
Okay. So then it's on. Yep. Oh, I thought you were going to say something. So, Loic, after your 2 days in Luskan, getting all the information you need, what's the plan?
I will draw a teleportation circle to Mirabar and get out of here.
Okay. You're greeted by the same little old lady. Once again, she doesn't recognize you. She goes through exactly the same motion as she had done before, and brings you in. She's a little surprised that you came from Luskan. Was pretty sure no one in Luskan knew that sigil.
Well, I'm not in Luskan. I explained to her. I was just visiting.
Oh, wonderful. Okay. Now, there's the exit. Again, not again, but if you tell anyone we're here, we will kill you.
Will do. Or I'll keep that in mind. Thanks, Dolores.
Goodbye. Okay, so you leave. You find your party once again in the group. You've sent word to Brassic, because that doesn't take long. Oh, well, no. How are you going to send word to Brassic?
Yeah, I can do the sending spell. Under 25 words. Park it outside of the walls.
Okay. Received. We will be there. Just at dawn on the third day, the clouds break. The ship comes down. Harshnag looks up. It's like, you're still flying around with them?
Not really. Honestly.
I wouldn't trust them if I were you.
I'm not even there.
Yeah, you're there.
Am I there yet?
When the
Okay.
ship arrives, you're there.
While not being within earshot of Brassic and the gang, I'm gonna pull Harshnag down a little bit closer, and I'm gonna eye everybody else like they should hear this too. Turns out Clouth is a lieutenant for Tiamat.
A giant elder evil red dragon working for Tiamat? What?
Well, now we know for sure. It's always been in question. Now we don't have to question it.
Well, that's fair.
Right. He picks up his great axe. Let's do this then.
Other
He
things.
raises it as if to run charging at the airship.
Other things that I've learned, or rather,
Harshnag, no.
Yeah.
You know,
What?
We're not attacking them.
The fact that we don't trust them doesn't mean we need to fight them right now. Remember, we've been resting for 2 days to go to Maelstrom. If we get in a fight and get hurt, then we have to wait and rest more days.
also, that's not Clouth. That's Brassic and Delsvine and Nyzoth and Oriscus and all these people that are not Clow.
Do not forget Les. Who could forget Les?
Lad speaks for himself.
Or trolls. Or trolls.
Okay, all right.
But my friend, my new
Well,
friend.
let us not forget our fallen comrades who died fighting the Green Dragon.
Yeah.
What were their names
Play
again?
Amazing Grace a little
I
bit on
don't
the pipes.
remember.
My large new friend. If you wish to be of service, I think we have room in our party if you wish to accompany us to Maelstrom. And I look around.
Yeah.
I thought he was coming.
How come?
We need a translator. We
No,
may
you
need
don't.
to. Well,
I have new
might-
tricks.
in case we need to separate, we might need another translator.
So, when are we going?
Well, is everyone rested up? Does everyone have any health, all the health potions they want, and so forth?
Well, we need to break the bad news to Brassic, and we need to figure out how this shell works.
No, he can just stay here. We don't know if we don't know if we don't need him.
It's a good point.
It might not be wise to upset an entire boat filled with a cult dedicated to one of Tiamat's lieutenants. To just leave them without any...
He said they were at our service. We just said park it there and wait until we need you.
Yeah.
Seems fair to me.
So do we tell
Okay.
them that we're at least going to be gone for a little while?
I don't know where we're going to be. As far as they're concerned, we're still in the city. Let them think that.
But I wanted to still be capable of talking to them after we return, because they're our lead on this dragon conflict with Imrith and Cloud. So
Well,
we're-
you have
That's what I'm
that.
saying. We know where they are. We can come back.
Yeah, but I don't want to piss them off is the thing. So I don't want to leave them hanging. I
Well,
wanna at least tell them.
if you must,
it'll
don't
be
you
a-
have those bracelets to let people talk to each other over distances?
I'm not giving one of those to them.
Well, then tell them we're using ascending, and we can just send them ascending now, so we don't even have to go talk to them. That says we're doing some teleportation stuff. We'll be in contact. Please just stay ready for us.
You really want me to waste some spell power on that?
Well, you're not willing to give them a shiny little bauble to communicate with them. Like, I don't know.
I will walk over there.
I don't want
Physically.
to get into a fight either if he seems uninclined to let us leave again.
Don't worry about
Okay,
it.
see-
This isn't. They're not interested in the giants. They're interested in what happens after the giants.
All right.
If things get really rough, we could just blow the conch and leave.
So I will go talk to Brassic.
I'm going to go too because I'm a talker.
Well, if we're all ready, let's just go talk to him and then peace out.
Aaron's going to scuff the floor.
Harshnag will follow, and he will walk with you as you approach. Who has the conch?
I do.
I'd ask for Harshnag to hang back a little bit.
Okay.
Just they're dragon cultists. You're a giant. I don't want to add tension. Can you just hang back a little bit?
Okay. But I will be watching them.
Don't worry. We're all watching.
Okay. So, just as usual, Brassic is there on the side of the ship, waiting for you all to come on in. Wonderful. Glad you had got what you needed done. Good to see you. Let's go.
His arms are open, and I'm gonna walk up to him, and I'm gonna stare at him for a second, and then I'm gonna lean forward and give him a hug. And I say, "We gotta go for a while. Thank you for being here, and we will return. But the next leg of the journey is via teleportation. You cannot follow us
Where are you going?
under the sea."
I start singing a song.
Thank
The
you.
seaweed is always free now. When somebody else-
So you're off the hook until we return, and when we return, I'll contact you. If we return, I'll contact you. If we don't return, then we're dead. You can't go. It's non-negotiable.
I can't let you go alone.
We're not alone. We have us. We are it.
I
Brassic,
hate to say it, you're half the size of the team you were at the beginning of this, and you've got new people. It's just
are you an
Darn right
adventurer?
we do.
Brassic, are you an adventurer? Is that your job title? This is mine, and I have some experience with it. I
we've
would
helped you
not
this far.
begin to tell you how to run a ship.
Now, Brassic, the best way to help us right now is to let us help ourselves. And let us go on this trip together. Because we don't want to put you in danger. You have a crew. You have people. You need to see that they're safe. We can handle ourselves. But they need you. They need you more than we need
Notably,
Aaron's looking at the skeptical halfling who's saying this. We haven't actually seen what he can do yet.
also, we saved him from being imprisoned by a bunch of giants.
It's not a great example. He's a walking example of people we're taking with us that can't fight.
But I can play a song, guys.
Notably, Brassic, we're half the size, but not because anybody's died. So, you know, we got that.
And the thing is that you guys are going to be a big distraction. If I have to watch Delphine go down in front of me, I'm not going to be able to be at my full strength.
We just learned to care too much for you guys.
Okay. One more. He holds on to you. I'd like everyone else to roll perception checks.
Stroke the back of his head with my tentacle.
Go Matthew.
Nah,
Hey.
Gamel's very insightful and perceptive, which is good because he's crap at everything else.
Okay. Do I have it? There we go. All right. So Gamel and let's actually see stuff.
Is it something to do with smell?
No, of course it's not something to do with smell. All right. So Danwick and Gamel, you both notice that he is casting a spell behind Loic's back. Brassic is casting a spell.
Hang on, I can counterspell.
Can I insight to tell if it's a malicious spell or not?
Make an Arcana check. See if you know what spell he's
Can I
casting.
do insight to see his intentions? Because it's not about recognizing the magic. It's about knowing if he's being malicious right now or if he's like genuinely caring and helpful. Like I'm not trying to identify the spell at all. I just
Well,
want to
he
know.
could be being caring and helpful
how
by
he's-
casting a spell to keep us here or something like that. This could be his love.
Well, sure, but point being, I'd rather know his intentions. I'd rather know if he's being duplicitous right now or if he's like caring and sincere. But I'll roll whatever the DM wants me to roll. Insight.
Okay. Arcana.
I got a 21 on my Arcana, though, so maybe that's...
So Gamel, you don't like magic as a whole. So you don't really... You think pretty much all magic, especially a magic spell that's being cast behind your wizard's back, is probably a bad one. Danric, you recognize this spell. It's a simple spell. It's Spirit Guardians. And Loic just about hears the verbal components as he's finishing up the spell. What would you guys like to do in response to him casting this spell?
What was the spell called?
Spirit Guardians.
Aaron doesn't see this at all with a 19.
Not with a 19.
Really?
I'm gonna Gamel again. He doesn't like magic, and seeing it happening behind his back, he's gonna whip out Whelm and just shockwave the ground.
Wait,
and...
well, hold on. I'm looking up the spell because I recognize it, so I want to make sure I know what it is before, because I might want to try to stop you from doing anything dumb.
Oh, you can't. Gamel's immediate reaction is I shoot it, or I throw my hammer at it.
I'll take the bullet.
When
then.
confronted with an issue, this is what happens.
Can I get a perception check from Loic as well? Because your eye's on the back of your coat. I just realised. No, okay, they didn't see it.
17? Didn't do it because I have advantage with it too.
No, his sleight of hand stealth was a 21.
Damn.
Yep. So he's casting Spirit Guardians.
So
What are you doing?
Gamel, upon seeing that he's casting anything on Loic, like shockwaves, and anyone within 60 feet that's not our party, so if there are any of the crew around, they'll have to make the DC 15 con save.
Okay. All right. So, Danric, you're not doing anything? What I need to know is, are you taking a reaction to counterspell?
Yeah. I would like to. I don't know if I have the right kind of spell to counterspell that, though. So I can counter charm, but I don't think that would work to...
No, it wouldn't work.
Yeah.
Okay. So, Loic, you immediately notice that the area around Brassic just suddenly goes dark. Almost like clouds just spread out from him. Blackness emits from his person surrounding you. And then it starts building up into this fiendish-looking set of soldiers that all just start spinning and twirling around you, racking at your mind, trying to have at you at the beginning of this. What would you like to do in response?
Are we going to treat my shockwave now or in a second?
We will treat your shockwave now, actually. So you cast it. Each creature of your choice on the ground within 60 feet of you must make a DC 15 con save.
I mean, the intent was, I see these casting a spell, I don't like magic, I shockwave. So I'd hoped to get it out before he got it all done, but...
The actual action of casting is quicker than the shockwave hitting. So you see the spell finish. He was able to save.
How about the spirits?
His crew all drop. The spirits can't be affected by it. Loic.
So you said they're racking at my brain, right?
They are trying to have at you. And at the beginning of your turn, you will have to make a wisdom saving throw.
I should also say I failed my save, so I'm now afraid to be outdoors, and I'm taking disadvantage on everything.
If you're within 10 feet of me, you have a +5. So.
Okay. So Loic, go ahead and roll a wisdom saving throw.
A +5 on what?
Your save.
Oh, in that case, I pass, and I'm not terrified. That's nice.
Good, good.
You should always be around when I do that. When I do that. I fail it more often than not, and it's just a DC 13.
I am a calming presence, obviously.
So is that like a 31 then?
So you guys would have been kind of close. If Loic is close enough to gain the benefit of the +5, what's the range of that?
10 feet.
10 feet. Then Artir would also be under the effect of this spell. So wisdom saving throw. Loic gets the 31. Okay.
That's a 19.
Yep. So both of you succeed. Loic and Artir, you take 13 points of necrotic damage after succeeding, and we will stop the session there as Brassic has just attacked.
Why?
We shouldn't
Remember when
have gone.
Gamel said we shouldn't have this conversation because we could get into a fight? And Loic was like, it's fine, it's
Well, you didn't want to get into that fight, though,
fine.
for XP.
Well, I had logic.
Well, all
Well,
we need to do...
Loic divulged too much information.
If we can get the
oh,
conch
oh,
from...
we've just got some business to attend with. You went, no, we're going to go to the city under the sea, which is like too much information.
Thank you, everyone, for sticking with us through tonight's session. We will be back this time next week for another session with everyone, hopefully, as the party face off against the dragon cultists and Brassic and his strange powers that had not been seen previously. The campaign is coming close to an end, as the party have the conch that they need and they head towards Maelstrom. But let's see if they survive this altercation with the cultists.
We are gonna
Time.
murder him. We're gonna murder him so hard.
No, we're going to kill them in self-defense. It will be morally
Right.
ethical. Everyone should cheer for us when we do it. It's
We'll
not.
kill them with kindness.
That's right.
It's the
We'll use
proper-
kindness like a pillow and smother them until they stop struggling.